WPEN Burlington, Philadelphia, a Beasley Media Group station. Official home of the Sixers, Flyers, Union, and the best Eagles talk in Philadelphia. 97.5, The Fanatic.
Good morning. Thought I'd help you wake up.
It's 6 a.m. and you're listening to The John Kincade Show, Philadelphia's longest-running sports talk morning show on 97.5 The Fanatic, Philadelphia.
Let the party begin!
The show starts now.
It's funny how things sort of go full circle. And we talk a lot on this show about style points and whether they're important or not, or whether they matter or not. But all I know is this. I'm looking this morning, and I see the Eagles at 8-1, and 6-0 in the NFC. After playing, I think, one of the ugliest big wins in the history of me being an Eagles fan. But I look back a year, and the Eagles were 8-1, and they had a conference loss already. This year they don't. This year they're in a division where their nearest competition in the division, the Dallas Cowboys, already has 3 losses and 3 conference losses. And so I decided, where do I sit on this? Because I will tell you, I don't know if it's the steroids or not, but my wife says I'm cursing a lot more. I cursed a lot yesterday watching that game. I was aggravated by it. There was so many unforced errors, and it seems like they're never getting corrected. But then the clock runs to 0, and the Eagles are 8-1. Best record in football. Best record in their conference, with a chance to, right now, barring a collapse, you're winning this division. Now it's a matter of, can you clean up the things that you have to clean up? Can you fix the injury situations that you've gotten? You've got some guys banged up. You've got a bye week. You don't play for 2 weeks. So you got 2 weeks to give the guys plenty of rest, and Nick Sirianni will talk to that coming up. We'll let you hear it. But overall, as aggravated as I was and as bad as I think the style points were, the Eagles are 8-1. And more importantly, Dak stepped out on the 2-point conversion because he was forced. He was pressured out. There was a stop on the goal line where a knee went down because a play was made. And I can't just say, wow, you get lucky when you do that. Because one thing I know about the Philadelphia Eagles under Nick Sirianni, almost all the time we can count on them to make the plays in crunch time. And what do I know about the Dallas Cowboys? We can count on them to not. That's their legacy. That's who they've been. And the 8-1 Eagles take 2 weeks off. And, Bob, I can use a weekend off after that one yesterday. Bob Cooney, Pat Egan here. I can use a weekend off after that.
Yeah, well,
it was exhausting.
Yeah, you look at it, and we all called for it to be a tight game. And I think most of the Delaware Valley, pretty much everybody we talked to yesterday at our pregame show, said it was going to be tight. It was going to be close. Now, if it's 2 good teams going at each other, what's your goal? To make the other team look bad. Well, both teams at times made the other team look bad an awful lot yesterday. So that's okay. So then it becomes a game, a game of just guts and go out and do something. The plays that you pointed out, great job by you. I mean, those are plays.
You made a play.
Those are plays that had to be made, and those are plays that were made. And then, people talk about the last play of the game. Why didn't they go to the end zone and stuff like that? Well, that's another play because there was nothing open in the end zone. And it was funny. After you said it this morning, I rewatched it. They covered the end zone. They did a good job of keeping CeeDee Lamb in front of them.
4 guys in there.
And there was guys in the end zone, but they weren't open. So, yeah, sometimes it's just ugly when 2 teams go at each other. That's what it was. And you came out the winner. That's the great way you have to look at this game.
I will not say, Pat, I can't imagine a win that I thought was uglier, though. I honestly, I was trying to rack my brain on the ride in this morning, just saying, think of a big win that was sort of that ugly, and stressful. I had a hard time thinking about it.
The big win, I mean, I guess I'd go back to the Colts game last year, but how big was it?
Because the Colts weren't that good.
Game. Yeah.
And they weren't good.
Man, I might have to go all the way back to the Falcons playoff game for like
Seriously.
a big win that looked this bad. Yeah, it didn't look great, but good teams will find a way to kind of win that kind of game, win that ugly game where they continue to shoot themselves in the foot, and yet they come out on top. And I think that's the big difference between a really, really good team and just an okay team or a bad team is the okay or bad team finds a way to lose that game and usually will find a way to lose. And the Eagles continue to persevere and ended up winning it. Like, I was sweating it out.
I saw your tweet, by the way.
Yeah. I'm sure I'm still getting dragged for that. But like,
well, you were right.
Yeah. Well, when you punt the ball away, when you give the Cowboys, 50 seconds to go 86 yards with no timeouts, you should be able to kick back and say, yeah, we're going to win this game. And the fact that it got that close was annoying, but ultimately, I don't care. They won. We can all laugh about it.
Yeah, I would say the laugh was not laughing. Nick Sirianni talked about, after the game, there were highs and there were lows.
Football's such an unbelievable game. There's highs, there's lows, and sometimes it brings you to tears of joy. Sometimes it brings you to tears. But just so happy there, guys. I mean, it was obviously the plays that before that led to them being in a kind of a desperation at the end. Great job by our defensive line to get pressure near there at the end of the game.
All right, let's have both sides of the coin. James Bradbury's a problem right now. He doesn't look right.
He had a good first half. But,
he made a couple plays in the first half. He did. He was targeted in the second half again. Another opponent targeting Bradbury, and it wasn't good. It wasn't good. They had to put Slay over there and shift around and try to change responsibilities here. That's a bit of a problem. I am surprised that all of a sudden at the end, they get all this collapse the pocket pressure on Dak Prescott. And for the most part of 3.5 quarters, Bob, they didn't.
I'm not seeing a lot of stunts and all. I'm seeing a lot of one-on-one. I'm seeing a lot of 4-on-4s. I don't see the fifth guy being sent all that much. I don't see, your edge rushers collapsing into the middle while your big fatties in the middle are taking up two guys or creating a gap. I don't see a lot of it. I see a lot of, all right, go out there and win your one-on-one matchup. It's going to be a key today because yesterday, I don't know if it was the announcers or if it was the stat, but something came up that made actually my wife say, why do they keep showing that they're like pressuring Dak Prescott? Because they're really not.
It didn't feel like it.
It didn't. He had 3-4 seconds back there, it seemed like. So I don't know what's going on when I was kind of watching that. Yeah, like I said, it seems like Sean Desai is like, all right, guys, you're good enough up front. Win your one-on-one battles. It's not really working. Now, they got 5 sacks, and later on, late in the game, they did well, and you throw in Brandon Graham, and God bless him.
Oh, my gosh, Brandon Graham, you beast.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on up front there. It's kind of strange.
I will ask this, Pat. Last year, the Eagles were 8-1, and this city was losing their minds about Jonathan Gannon. Is Sean Desai getting a little bit of a pass? Because this defense is worse.
Yeah,
this defense is worse in every measurable. Every single thing, it's worse.
Getting a pass? Like, I'm annoyed by it, but
why is it? Why are we not hearing the vitriol on him?
You're asking the wrong person because I was a Gannon guy.
Oh,
so
yeah,
you're
you
asking,
were, like me.
Yeah, go find somebody that didn't like him.
I am asking about that, though.
Him.
Why he's getting this defense is worse in every measurable. Every single thing. And I'm not hearing the same vitriol we heard for Gannon last year when they were 8-1 and had historically the best defense the franchise has ever had.
I
don't get it.
They've had 2 bad games against Washington. Other than that, last night defensively, they gave up 23 points. I'm okay with it.
Did you like that effort defensively, though?
23 points is the
23 I give you. Absolutely.
End all be all. So were they on? Listen to this stat. Fourth quarter, Dallas had the ball for 11 minutes and 18 seconds.
That's impossible.
14 first downs. Eagles, 3 minutes and 42 seconds, 0 first downs.
It's impossible.
It's crazy that they won the game with something like that going on in the fourth quarter.
Here's one of the things we're worried about, though. It's Jalen Hurts' health. Is he healthy? Is he okay? Nick Sirianni spoke about it after the game.
He's okay. Yeah, he's fine. You can ask him. I think he's okay. He played an unbelievable game, really accurate the entire game. Went to the right place with the ball all game, and you saw how he played after that. So he's good.
I think Jalen Hurts. I got to tell you, the level of just awe at times of what he does. He is fantastic to watch. He just, I don't know. There's something about Jalen Hurts that is so clutch. And I got to tell you, I never thought Randall was clutch. I never thought that, in truly, did I ever think that Carson Wentz was like clutch. I'm looking at it and going, who's been clutch for this team? And yes, in a short window of time, Nick Foles was. In a short window of time, he was. But to me, the clutch nature of this quarterback, Bob, really gives me a lot of joy. He is unbelievable. At times.
He is, and you can put all the adulation you want upon him, and it's all correct, right? I mean, the guy's 25-2 in his last 27 regular season games. I mean, that's unbelievable. So they just win. How
was
is
he
it ugly?
16-1 at home? I think, or something like that.
All the numbers are ridiculous when you throw that first one out there. It's just they don't lose, and the guy makes plays, and even in the fourth quarter where they only had the ball for 3 minutes, somehow they still find a way to win the game. That pass that he threw to Devontae Smith for the touchdown was unbelievable.
Beautiful.
His scrambling ability, even on that hurt knee. And I understand what Sirianni's saying, although he did say something wrong where you can ask him. Well, you can't because he gets up and leaves a press conference when you ask him. But about the knee, it's a bone bruise. It's a bruise. And the more it gets hit, the more it's going to hurt. If it's really just a bone, air quotes, because I know how much that hurts, you're going to have to just play through it. It's not like it's going to get worse. Does it hurt more or less at times? Yeah, but it's not like a ligament where it's going to continue to tear or anything like that and cause long-term damage.
2 weeks off should help, right?
Oh, my God, yeah. He could be fully healed by the time they get back in 2 weeks. Now, Dallas Goedert breaking the forearm last night, and he's going to have an MRI today, but the reports are coming out as his arm is broken. Now what do you do? Does he go on IR? Does he miss 4 games? This is a tricky situation here.
It's a late-season ritual now.
You don't have a backup pass-catching tight end. You don't. And you go out and get one. What do you do? I saw somebody suggest on Twitter, call Gronk. I don't think that's going to happen.
I don't think Gronk's coming in.
Yeah, but it's a serious thing now that they have to address without Dallas Goedert.
It was a wild day, though. And you guys had a fantastic pregame show. And there was great energy down there. What was the traffic nonsense yesterday? What was it? Because everybody on social media, that was the pregame storyline of the game.
Worst that I've seen since the NFC Championship game.
Really? Was that bad that day? Yeah. It was bad that day.
Yeah, we usually, at least I don't get off at the sports exit.
Okay.
Sports complex exit on 76. I go to the next one because Live Casino's right there. So the backup started with the on-ramp to the sports complex, was backed all the way up. It took me a half hour to get from there to Live Casino.
I hear people saying that it was lights.
I don't know if it was lights.
They didn't have anybody running the lights is what people were talking about.
That's what the problem was for me when I went. And I was real early. Like, I had something to do, and I just said, I'm going straight on over.
Right.
So I was a couple hours early, and the light on Packer Avenue to make the left on Darien wasn't working. It stayed red forever. So it was backed up getting towards the bridge. Finally, the light kicked in and things got a little bit better.
It was there was a cop that was like right near the exit ramp that kind of was playing like I don't know, like a doorman kind of thing, and that seemed to be backing up the line quite a bit. Then you finally got past him. It seemed like you were okay, but the light did take forever. Yeah, it was a cluster. It was typical same problem we always seem to have with the city is
it's unbelievable.
You got 18 different ways to get to the stadium, and they back up all of them.
Let's see what Kenny in Jersey wants to share a thought right off the bat. Now, Kenny, you are a Cowboys fan?
Absolutely. Good morning, fellas.
Hi,
Good morning,
Kenny.
Absolutely, I'm a Cowboys fan, but I try to keep it 100 because I'm a football fan. And like I told the producer, Philly defense stepped up and made plays to win that game when they had to make plays. And my defense didn't do much or nothing. But both of those teams look good to me. They look like two good teams.
I think they look like the two best teams in the NFC right now.
I can't say that because the 49ers put a whooping on us that we ain't forgot about yet. So,
Kenny, where do you come from? Because you are absolutely the most logical Cowboy fan I've ever spoken to.
man, I used to call Philly shows all the time, bro. They named me Cowboy Kenny.
Well,
I would call all the time.
Kenny, you are logical and you're fair. I mean, you're not just a fanboy. I love it. I mean, we're pointing out the blemishes on the Eagles too. I mean, it was a weird day yesterday.
It was. I mean, like you said earlier, a lot of teams would have threw that game away. That game was poised for a big upset at the end.
Yes, it was.
But Philly held it tight. Their defense made a couple pressures and sacks on Dak, and you put us behind the 8 ball. And then Dak Prescott, I told my kids, I said, he's going to throw this last ball short.
Oh, no.
And what did he do? He threw the ball short.
Well, Bob has pointed out, Kenny, thanks for your call, buddy. Bob, you pointed out that there really was nobody open in the end zone. There was nothing. They were making sure.
Yeah, the Eagles covered the end zone well, and they did a good job of. Well, they had like 19 people back there. They did a good job of keeping everything in front of them. They did. They had 8 guys back there. They rushed 3. So yeah, when you watch the replay in the end zone, nothing was really there. And CeeDee Lamb cuts it short, and then you swarm like bees when you see the ball in the air going to him and keep him short of the end zone.
I did a little word search last night on Twitter. And one of the things that seemed to be a prevailing theme was they're 8-1, but they're not that good. So I'm going to ask you the first question of the day, and you can get in at 610-632-0975. If the Eagles are 8-1 and not that good, tell me who's good. Because I wrote a piece for 97.5thefanatic.com this morning, and I've got to tell you, if you're seeing a team that is good and you're telling me the 8-1 Eagles aren't, I want to know who you're seeing and what you're watching. We'll get to some of that and more. You'll hear from Tim McManus postgame and also Jalen Hurts on what this team needs to improve. It's the John Kincade Show on 97.5 The Fanatic. I have got the absolute best way Eagles won. Eagles are 8-1. Eagles are 6-0 in the NFC. And I ask you the question at 610-632-0975. If you believe the Eagles aren't that good, then who is? Because honestly, I wrote a piece this morning for the website, and it'll be up in an hour or so. Bob, I got to tell you, I'm looking at it, and I'm going, okay, if you're telling me the Eagles aren't that good, and they're not a legit...
Who's telling you this?
It's all... You seriously, you definitely have a different social media than I have.
No, I'm
it's
not stuck on social media. I don't look at it all that much, but I just like...
That's where the fans are talking about it. That's where the fans are talking
They're
about it.
They're saying the Eagles aren't that good.
They're saying 8-1, this team's not that good. They're not like last year. There's...
they're not like last year.
Yeah, it's that they're not as good. Who's good then?
They're not. They're not as good as last year's team.
No, they're not. But who's as good?
What do you mean?
Who is good then? If the Eagles aren't good, somebody's got to be good, right?
Honest to God, I'm not just going against you. I have not had one person tell me the Eagles aren't good. You can't. That's just a stupid sports statement say that a professional team is 8-1 and they're not good. Who's saying they're not good? I'd love to hear from you because that's ridiculous.
Pat, do you see this on social media? 8-1, they're not 8-1. This team's not.
Not really.
Really?
Yeah, if I'm being honest with you.
It's all
Not
over
really.
last night.
Now, granted, I follow like
I can
50
see
people.
Yeah,
but
you do.
I can see questioning, how they're here and all that, but to say they're not good?
I think people were more mad last night than happy. Honestly, I think the fan base seemed more mad than happy as far as this sucked, but we survived. I think it's fair to look at this team and go, yeah, there's a lot of flaws and a lot of things, but they're actually better than last year because they don't have a conference loss yet at 8-1. And by the way, they have the best record ever of any team that's lost the Super Bowl.
Yeah, that was a good one. I don't know if they're better than last year because of that. Eye test tells you they're not playing as good as the team was playing after 9 games last year. I mean that we
where
all
they
know,
were
we
rampaging people.
We all like to watch football and all that. I can honestly say, and I'll bet you almost all of our listeners would say the same thing. They're not at 8-1 as good as last year's 8-1 team was, and that's just eye test. Now there's numbers that may say something different, but to say they're not good, they're the best. Someone could make the argument they might not be the best team in the NFC, and I would listen, sort of.
To whom, though? Lions?
But I mean, I would listen, sort of, if they want to make the argument. But if somebody says to me they're not a good football team, I walk away. I turn the channel. I turn off the radio. I get off Twitter, whatever it may be. That's just garbage.
They're not a good team defensively. They're 19th in points allowed, which is horrendous for a team that went to the Super Bowl last year. And they're 29th in pass defense. That's ridiculous. With the amount of money they've spent in their secondary, and I talked about it during the offseason, it concerned me the age of Slay and Bradbury. And I think both Slay and Bradbury at times this year have shown age. And they're being aggressively, Bradbury especially, being aggressively targeted by opposing offensive coordinators. And to me, the offense, they're second in scoring. They're second in scoring. So the offense has continued with all the talent they have. Even though there have been troubles, they continue to score and be one of the best teams in the NFL. 19th in points allowed is not good.
Well,
that's not good at all.
No, but, did you go into the season saying that? Okay, we can be a middle-of-the-road defensive team. We don't want to be, but that's with the safeties that we have, with the linebackers that we have. Nakobe Dean ain't it. Like, it just doesn't look like he's it.
Doesn't look like it.
And he got hurt again last night, and he might be out for a little while longer, but he just doesn't appear to be the it guy there. So there's concerns. You went in knowing you had question marks at linebacker, knowing you have question marks, and you didn't even know who your starters were at the safety position. Was it a case that this team said, well, we added a running back that we like, we have a good running back room, and everybody else is fine? Great offensive line, great wide receivers, a really good tight end, let alone the quarterback. Maybe that was their MO, just to say, look, we're going to outscore teams this year.
Now, the tush push has become the big talking point. And Brad Sham and Babe Laufenberg on the Cowboys radio network yesterday, I think, had the weakest low-T energy men's take I've ever heard. Listen.
3rd and 1 at the 22.
Is this going to be our quarterback sneak? It's going under center, and they never go under center. Always look for something off of this, though, something other than
they did that with Swift last week, but there's the push, and it's close, but I think you got the first down.
No.
I don't think they've used it and not gotten it, have they?
No. Stephen Jones is on the competition committee, right? He's got to stand up in that room and say, we need to ban this.
He's not against it.
We need to. No, you got to play Philly twice a year. You got to play Hurts. You might even see him a third time. You get up there and you say, this has got to be, this is not football, right?
Well, that's my view, but
I mean, they're in the division, for goodness sake.
So you're going to change the rule because the team's beating you.
Brad Sham
Ridiculous.
and Babe Laufenberg. What a joke. What an absolute low-T joke. Maybe Dr. Avidan Appel could help them out.
I had to laugh because Dan Quinn last week said, we going over the top is a way that you have to go there. So did you guys, I don't know if you saw Micah Parsons try to go over the top on the tush push.
I did.
So he landed on top of the pile parallel to the ground and literally flew backwards.
Micah Parsons, though, he was a menace yesterday.
Oh, God, yeah, he's good.
That was the first time, though, we've seen him in an Eagles game be a menace. And, Pat, it brought me back to you wondering about Lane didn't own him yesterday. Pat, it was a great day. That was a great day for Micah Parsons.
It was. I don't know how much of it was on Lane and how much of it was on Tyler Steen, because it seemed like they were kind of targeting him a bit. But
Sure.
they moved him around. He was a factor. You weren't going to keep him quiet for his entire Cowboys career.
Correct, exactly.
So if you can have a game like they did, where he does have a nice game, but you come out with a win. I mean, that's all that matters, right? Like, that's huge.
And that's what we're sitting at today. We're sitting at 8-1 going.
8-1. It's better than 7-2.
And we're totally in control.
And it was interesting because on the pregame show, Andrew had this, fever dream scenario of you lose, and then you go in the bye, and Dallas is playing New York next week, the Giants. So you not only do you lose to the Cowboys, but the Cowboys then overtake you for the divisional lead. It was a cavalcade of suck that could have happened.
It was invading his brain.
I don't know if it was invading, but he was just pointing out, like, hey, how important this game is. If you lose this game, you're probably entering the next time you play on the football field. You're entering that game in second place, not first. And
you're at the Chiefs.
It's like, damn, like they really, this is every game's a must win, but this is really putting the magnitude right there of like how important this one is.
The NFC stinks, Bob. I mean, the Lions are the closest competitor to you at 6-2, and they have an easy schedule, by the way. So you don't want to just lose track of the Lions. You'd like to see them lose a couple, and I hope a young team takes their eye off the ball and does that.
It's such a week-to-week thing. I don't know if the NFC as a whole stinks. Like, if San Francisco starts playing up to where they played the first 4 or 5 games of the season, they're really good. The Cowboys came in here last night and gave you a struggle. They're good. I think it was two really good teams going at it. Yeah. After that, Detroit, that's a fast, fun, good team. I don't know that it stinks. I think there's a big separation between the Eagles and whoever's number 2. To me, isn't as big as I thought it was in the regular or before the season started, but it's still a little bit of a gap there.
Let's see what Lex has to say. Lex, good morning. You're on the Fanatic.
Good morning, guys. How you doing?
Good to hear from you, Lex. So tell me, are they good? Are they not good? What's the problem?
They're in the middle right now because there's a lot of cleaning up they got to do. Their front four on defense is really good, man, but their backside is weak. Like, if you've seen that game, they just kept giving up. 4th down, they just kept giving up a free down, and it's Brad. I call him Bradbury, but I was going to say something else. Slade, too. Like you said, these two guys, I don't know if the side is setting up these guys for failure because every week it comes down to this. And it's not that Dallas played a tough game. We was giving them the game with dumb, bonehead penalties. We were letting them go down the field. They should not even been in that game. So I don't want to hear that they're a good team. No, we were a bad team at the end.
Yeah, I mean,
even though we won.
I think, it was to me that was the ugliest win. The ugliest big win that I can remember. And I tried to go back and think, and Pat's answer was the one I got closest to. That Falcon playoff game that they won 15-10. That was an ugly game. They really didn't do a lot right that day, and they had a few things break their way. But the difference is, last night, as bad as things were going at times, they still made plays. They made a play on the goal line They forced Dak out before he could get the 2-point conversion. Everybody's talking about Dak stepping out of bounds. Dak stepped out of bounds because there was a collision coming. I mean, it's not like the Eagles didn't make some big plays when they needed to be made, but that play by Bradbury with giving up 45 yards was ridiculous.
Yeah.
That was freaking ridiculous. You can't do that. The one thing you can't do, and he was literally back turned to the ball, hands up over the shoulders of the receiver. It was stupid.
Yeah,
and I couldn't believe he made that play.
You got to think that there's 2 high safeties on that, and he's going to have help in the back. I didn't see any there.
Gosh.
The guy's pretty much running a fly pattern, and you would think safety help's coming over. Didn't see anybody. The safeties are a concern. Like you said, Bradbury and Slay are getting exposed a little bit more than we're accustomed, maybe a lot more than we're accustomed to. The linebacker play, like, why are they still trying to figure it out? You know, why was it? And we talked about this even in the summer. Why is Nakobe Dean just given the here
Anointed.
you go?
Draft pick? Do you think it's because of the draft pick?
I don't give a crap if you're a draft.
I know you don't.
No, and I know.
Right.
I'm saying this is what the Eagles should think. I don't care if you're a draft pick or a guy that we got off the street. Who's the better linebacker? I mean, they must have seen that Nakobe Dean was the best linebacker they had during this offseason somehow, somewhere, someplace. I don't know.
I'm not seeing it now.
Well, and maybe he just hasn't shown it yet because we're talking about a sample size of like
You're right.
2.5 games here, so I don't want to rip him too much. But and look, he hasn't looked good.
Right.
But the anointed thing, like you could have made the same point about guys that did work out, like Reed Blankenship. You could have made why are we just giving the job to Reed Blankenship? Like Reed Blankenship's been pretty good. So
gotcha.
That quote anointing thing has worked in the past, and in this situation, look, 2.5 games in, he does not look good at all. But I'm just not ready to just throw him out.
No.
I'm not saying that you guys are. I'm not saying that you guys are, but I'm willing to give him a little bit of a pass just because it's such a small sample size.
I want Jalen Hurts to speak. Jalen Hurts had an opportunity to speak after the game on what he feels this team needs to do to get back to the level of play they played at last year.
You know, I just feel like we have to be better. We have to be better. We have to continue to grow. As I said, I'm as hungry as ever to continue to kind of strive for those new heights. But I think it all comes down to execution and how we execute. And when we do that at a high level, we're pretty good. You know, when we're not, we're not. And so it's a matter of everybody being on the same page and growing through that together. You know, this is obviously a very important time for everyone as we enter this phase of the season. And, you know, it comes down to execution.
Execution. They're not executing the way that they executed last year. But Jalen Hurts taking a lot of he's never pleased. He's never pleased, and it's probably one of the reasons he's so great is he pushes himself to be great. But right now, he's not pleased.
Yeah.
With the execution.
He's not. Kelsey came out and said, you know, we got to get better. We have to get better. We see all that. You know, we compare it to whatever. But, you know, the teams have a book on the Eagles. What they did last year, an offense that's pretty much exactly the same as it was last year, even though you have a new coordinator. It's the same people. It's the same designs. Has anything they done this year surprised you? Say, oh, wow, they didn't do that at all last year.
No.
Not really. You have a defense that, look, they're lacking in really critical areas, and it's showing in the middle of the field, especially in the slot and then down the middle with your safeties and all. There's some holes, but they're 8-1. And we can't overlook it. It's the big headline.
Cannot.
Everything that we say, everything that we nitpick or look at or like or dislike, whatever it may be, comes under the big 8-1 umbrella.
It has to be the headline.
Yeah.
8-1, 6-0.
No question. It's the lead to every story. It's the underwriting fact that you can't get away from and you don't want to get away from. And, yeah, we can nitpick the way they play because we want them to show us more, show us better. But what's more and better, 9-0? Maybe. What's more and better, though, is not allowing Dallas to go, 80-some yards with 20 seconds to go. All of those things that we nitpick, but it's real.
Would that have been the worst tweet ever, Pat? If that had come?
Yeah,
people were getting on you even after you won.
Yeah, it probably would have been my worst tweet. Yeah, look, I mean, ultimately, I don't really care about the overreact. Like, it annoys me. The people that always jump on it's not over yet, bro. Like, they always annoy me because in that game, that should have been over.
It should have been.
It should have been. You're punting the ball
Correct.
to Dallas. They have to go 86 yards with no timeouts in 50 seconds. you should have been able as an Eagles fan to kick back and go, now look, you weren't able to.
Amen.
And I was sweating it out, and I was annoyed by it. But when they tackled whoever it was who had the last play.
CeeDee.
Yeah, when they tackled CeeDee Lamb.
They barely stopped him all day.
And he wasn't in the goal, and he wasn't in the end zone. I just laughed about it, and that's the way that people should do. But look, I wasn't out there playing defensive back, but I know people were going to blame me for it, as if God doesn't follow me. So.
A jinx. Yes, he does.
No, he doesn't.
You didn't. No. He followed you yesterday.
He doesn't follow me, and he doesn't care about
God
sports.
got on you.
If he did, the Saints would be better.
Hey, Bob, I do want to make sure we slip something in here early because we are your home of the Sixers. The 76ers win streak at 4.
Yeah.
And I enjoyed during nap time Saturday where I was dozing in and out watching that Sixers game against the Suns. That was an impressive outing.
There's similarities between the Sixers game on Saturday and the Eagles game yesterday. They were both ugly. Neither team shot well. It's a 10 a.m. start in the minds of the Phoenix Suns because, 1 o'clock game here. The Sixers didn't shoot well. Both teams were kind of like just muddling through for a while. And then in the second half, the Sixers opened up the lead and then did a great thing. They opened up the lead, and they sat Joel Embiid for the whole fourth quarter. And still wound up winning the game.
I kept waiting for him to come back in.
Yeah, I was. It's funny. We left. We went to go down the shore, and so I was listening to the last part of it on the radio, and the announcer was saying the same thing. He's going like, 8:20 left, no Joel Embiid yet. 6 minutes ago, Sixers up, still no Joel Embiid. And I was like, damn, this is pretty neat of Nick Nurse. He got in his 30 minutes. He looked at Phoenix and said, I don't think they have it. I don't think their legs have it. I think we can win this without Joel Embiid. And they did. Again, here's the greatest thing I thought that came out of that Sixers win. After the game, a reporter, and I'm paraphrasing, says, hey, Tyrese Maxey didn't start well. He's talking to Nick Nurse. Tyrese Maxey didn't start well, but he finished up really well and finished the game. What did you say out of that? And he goes, I don't like it.
Yeah.
I need to see. He needs to be better all the time. He's that good of a player, and he got on his ass.
He did.
And
on his birthday.
On his birthday.
Yes.
And I like that. And you know what? Because Tyrese Maxey is the type of guy that will absorb that and say, you know what? He's right. I do.
And he's coaching.
Yeah, oh, God,
One thing I do notice is, and I don't know actually what is going on, but Nick Nurse appears to be coaching all the time. He appears to be imparting wisdom, surveying the floor. He's very active. Not saying that Doc wasn't. I'm not taking a shot at Doc. But he just seems very involved from beginning to end of every game.
Yeah.
It's exhausting, actually, to watch him. Because he's compared to Doc.
Yeah, it is cool. Like he was telling me the other day when he and I sat down that he told Joel Embiid something during a game, and he was describing the play to me or whatever, not to get into too much detail. But they talked about it. I don't even think it was during a timeout. I think it was a stoppage of play. And then the next time down, they ran and it perfectly worked. And I said, oh, that's the best feeling as a coach when you implement something and boom, it works right away, right? He goes, players like it. And you know what? It is. I think these players, this is so early on, but the mood when I was down there the other day watching the games and stuff, they seem to like to play for him. And it's nothing against Doc, but we heard that Doc wanted to implement something, and the players, especially James Harden, weren't buying in. And when a player doesn't buy into what you're trying to teach, that's a sucky way to go about business.
They were talking about, Pat, 7 different times. He talks in the postgame press conference. We ran the same play 7 times to the left, and then we just switched it to the right and ran it to the right. He's very open. He tells you a lot more than Doc ever did.
Yeah.
I don't know if I like that, though.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know if I mean, as a fan, sure. But
sharing it?
Yeah, I don't like the fact that you're kind of giving the opponent that information. But, I mean, ultimately they're winning, so.
He is an interesting cat, Nick Nurse, which is great. And the Sixers play tonight.
Yeah, they
back
do.
in action tonight.
Yeah,
they have 2 home games this week, Washington and then Boston on Wednesday.
Yeah, and they play Boston like a week
2
later
weeks
at
later.
home also.
And
Is
it's
it 2?
weird.
I thought it was
I
1.
think it's
and
2. And then
they
that's
also have Indiana here on Sunday and Tuesday.
It's really weird.
The scheduling is, and I know it's part of this conference tournament or whatever the hell they call the tournament thing. But, yeah, you got to take advantage of being at home. That's another thing I was talking to some of the guys about down there. They just love having this home stand at the beginning of the season, especially a new team, new coach, all that. You get to know each other better, and you start to play pretty good basketball.
Hey, a timely defensive performance. That's one way to put it. We'll hear from Tim McManus postgame on what he thought of the effort. Plus, Andrew DeCecco at 8 o'clock from Inside the Birds. John Kincade Show on 97.5 The Fanatic. I love the Bet Parks app.
Talking Philadelphia, 97.5 The Fanatic. Now, back to the John Kincade Show on 97.5 The Fanatic, Philadelphia.
Thanks so much for hanging out with the John Kincade Show. 97.5 The Fanatic. Turning on the mic really helps.
Yeah, once in a while. Can I give a shout out?
Absolutely. Why not?
It's one of our own.
One of our own?
Yeah. Us idiots can sit here and talk about sports and give our, good and bad takes, and we do our best to keep you involved and give you our thoughts, but we're not out there doing it. But guess what? One of our salespeople was out there doing it this weekend.
Who's that?
Joe Zerzalo, who's one of our salesmen here, nicest guy in the world, great dude. He went to Panama City, Florida, and competed in an Ironman competition. This dude swam 2 miles, biked 111 miles.
I can't even imagine.
And then ran a marathon.
That's unbelievable.
This dude was doing something active for 13 hours and 16 minutes on Saturday. Finished it up. So proud of him. I'm not kidding you. It's awesome.
And then he locked up a sale with PJ Wellahans.
Yeah.
Really? That's amazing.
So in the middle, he was biking. He was
on his phone?
He was biking, and he was locking up the details of a partnership between us and PJs to continue. So
what's the hardest part?
I would go with swimming, personally.
I would think swimming's the hardest part, too.
Like, you can stop
Probably.
running, you can stop biking.
Swimmer.
In what order do you go?
Swimming, biking, running.
Swimming, biking, running?
See,
oh, my
imagine
gosh.
that. You swim 2 miles, which is an accomplishment. Then you bike ride 111 miles.
That's incredible to me.
Oh, yeah, but I got a marathon to do after this.
That's incredible.
It is. It is unbelievable to me. I had a cousin and a niece running the New York City Marathon this weekend, and I always tease them, like, yeah, that sounds like so much fun. Why would you want to run? Here's Joe doing what he did. Oh, yeah, and the last thing I'm going to do of this triple event is going to be to run a marathon.
Oh, my gosh.
God bless him.
When Chucky D and Casey Boy ride the bike, what is their bike ride? Like 50 miles?
Yeah, they do like 50, 60 miles. It's
okay.
They get after it.
Because to me, 111 miles sounds awful. But I would imagine it might be the easiest part of the trip is the bike ride. I would think.
Well, Joe said something to me last week when I was asking him about it and mentally, where are you and all that stuff. He said
mentally he's not there.
Yeah, you use the bike ride to get your legs ready for the marathon. I'm
my gosh.
I can think of way better ways to get ready for a marathon.
How did he get his bike down there? Like you have to ship it down there or something like that?
We're going to have to ask him when he comes back.
I want you to hear from Tim McManus post-game last night after the game with our own Connor Thomas talking about the timely defensive performance. This is interesting wording.
I would say that it was a timely performance. Maybe that's more like it. It was, that final drive, everybody is holding their breath. Bradbury gets hurt on that pass interference down the left sideline. Slay goes out at the same time. So they're dealing with, it's just like a lot of young bucks going up against a pretty potent offensive attack. And they came up, at the very end, stop them at the 4-yard line. And CeeDee Lamb, who had this crazy monster night, comes just short of breaking the hearts of people in Philadelphia. And there was a series before that where you had Brandon Graham come up and make a big play in a big moment. And we all know that he's really good at doing that. So there was obviously flaws and bad penalties and those kind of things. But yeah, I would say in the crucial moments, they rose up when they had to and were able to sneak out of here with a W.
I've hardly ever, good job, Tim McManus. We'll hear more from Tim coming up later on in the show. Andrew Tcheco joins us at 8. I would say that is a great way. He's a wordsmith. It was a timely defensive performance because they had some huge defensive plays at critical times that were not Dallas not doing it. It was the Eagles forcing them not to do it.
Yeah, I took it differently. At times, the Eagles sucked, and at times they were good. And so there's your timely part of it. They have to shore a lot of things up,
they do.
Especially defensively. And you have a Travis Kelce in 2 weeks. The tight end play. Who's the guy, Schnooker, whoever the hell they had out there, tight end yesterday, the Cowboys?
It was Schnooky from the Jersey Shore.
And he's almost getting touchdowns on you and stuff like that. It's not good. So they're going to have to shore that up. But again, like Tim said, timely. They allowed 23 points last night.
Which
so
is
as
good.
much as we can question and all of that and nitpick and everything, They only allowed 23. That's
Keeping
not bad.
Dallas under their average right now. It ain't easy being cheesy. John is our first YouTuber to show up on the jury and also with us today. So, John, what do you have to say?
Good morning, everybody. Good morning. So, a few things. You know, watching that defense just give up some of the plays they gave up, it was like we became Draymond Green from last night, just taking a kick in the beanbag. But, it's a lot they got to fix defensively because you see CeeDee Lamb was really all they were really trying to go to last night. They didn't have any other options. They weren't trying to run the ball. They weren't really going to go to Gallup like that. They weren't throwing to Brandon Cooks at all. And there was still no answer for CeeDee Lamb, and that just they got to fix who's out there on defense. They got to fix the game plan. They got to fix the personnel. It was like I didn't see many adjustments until it really mattered. But overall, you can't let CeeDee Lamb go off for nearly 200 yards.
Do you agree with Bob, though, that they still 23 points should be the headline?
Well, yeah, like anytime you give up maybe 23 points or even less, that's like you have a good day, which is scoring defense. But like Bob said earlier, the eye test tells you a little different.
Yep, it was a weird day at the ball yard.
Yeah, and I really wish I could bottle the tears of Cowboys fans and sell it worldwide because the way some of them have been crying on social media all night because, the refs took it from us. It was the Cowboys versus the refs. You know what? Take your tears and shove it.
There you go, buddy. I love that. Good job. I would tell you this. I think the Eagles, I will tell you when I think the refs are bad. I think the refs skewed bad Dallas's way. I think Dallas had more bad calls against them.
Yeah, I thought the refs were too involved last night.
Oh, my God, too many calls.
Just too many on minor things. And, at some point, you got to let them play. And, the players don't know what they can and cannot get away with. That becomes a real problem. And that is because the reffing is so inconsistent all over the place. I'm not a complain about the refs type of guy. You guys know that and all. But
sure,
when they're too involved, when I find myself in the middle of the game just saying, oh, my God, just let them play, that's when it annoys me.
There were a lot of calls, Pat.
That last drive, it seemed like every play there was a flag. Whether it went for the Eagles or not, it seemed like every single play there was a flag on it. And it disrupts the rhythm of the game. It's annoying. I thought they were a little too involved yesterday as well.
I ask you again, too, out there, if the Eagles if you're disappointed at 8-1, like who do you think's the danger team? Because the Cowboys, I would tell you right now, if the Cowboys were coming in here for the NFC Championship game or a divisional playoff game, I'd be very anxious after what I saw yesterday. So that has to change. They got to change this thing up. They got to do some things because I would be very anxious after watching that yesterday.
Yeah, I'd be anxious if the 49ers were coming in, if Detroit was coming in, if the Cowboys were coming in.
Detroit, I really wouldn't be.
Well, they're a team that they're on the rise and they're in that first year of here it comes kind of stuff. But, they're winning football games and they're a fast football team. And teams like that, what do they have to lose?
No.
So if you're looking that far down, yeah. And a lot of it has to forget the arrows going to San Francisco and Dallas and Detroit. The arrow has to come back to Philadelphia. And you have to look at yourself first and foremost. And we hear it from the players. Yeah, we're not playing it well. We have a lot of things that we have to shore up. I mean, you let CeeDee Lamb go for 191 last night. There's a lot of things that this Eagles team needs to take care of within themselves before we have to worry about as a collective group, San Francisco, Dallas, Detroit, whoever it may be.
Tim McManus talked yesterday after the game with our own Connor Thomas on the postgame show regarding what everybody's going to be thinking about. How much is Jalen Hurts banged up and what's going to go on in the next 2 weeks?
Yeah, I'm not sure it's going to – 1 week is going to make it all go away, and I think it likely got worse tonight when Lawrence puts a hit directly on it. And it was kind of touch and go there. Like, he had a hard time getting off the ground. And when he did finally get to his feet, he started to stumble. There was a bad limp as he was going off right before the end of the first half. And Jordan Mailata was saying, like, I was doubtful that he was going to be able to finish this game. And, thank God he's a warrior. I think that when you're on these kind of runs obviously skill is really what guides you, but you also need a little bit of luck. And I think that Hurts is absolutely right. Like, this is coming at the exact right time where not only he needs to get healed up, but there's some other guys on this team as well.
Are we just going to have to deal every year with we get to like December, November, and Jalen Hurts is banged up, Pat? Is that just something we just have to come to understand? Because he's hardly been running this year.
Well, I mean
compared to last year.
season it took until what week?
It was December. It was
12,
the first.
13.
I think it was the first weekend of December, the Bears game.
Yeah. It's. I think it probably is. Look, he's a quarterback. They get banged up. You see it all over the NFL. I mean, especially this season, it seems like there's more than most. But like, not that this is really a subtraction. But Daniel Jones leaving yesterday with probably a torn ACL. Josh Dobbs has to come in because the backup in Minnesota ends up, getting a concussion. Like,
and he won.
Yeah, it's incredible. Yeah, he didn't even know the play call. He was just playing like sandlot football. But I think it's just the nature of the game, and quarterbacks get hit. What he's dealing with, unfortunately, it probably does limit his mobility. I felt like he ran yesterday more than he had previously, but it's weird, man. He's had this. He had the play in L.A. that was his leg looked completely weird on that one run.
Yeah, you're right.
And then he had yesterday's game of the knee or helmet going into the side of his knee that most of the time I feel like would end up keeping you out for a stretch. So I think it's just we're going to have to accept the fact that in that position he's probably going to be banged up every year.
Good time for an off week.
No, it's a great time. For
but it's
a great time.
After 9 games of an NFL season, I would say, okay, everybody who has an ache and pain, get on the left side. Everybody who doesn't, get on the right.
And nobody would be
I think it's going to be a pretty bare right side, sans punter or long snapper or something like that. But everybody has to be hurting at this point of the season. So it's a great time. It's funny, we were talking about this yesterday on the pregame, John, about Dallas and what it means. And I said, when I get a schedule at the beginning of the year, still the first 2 games I look for are the Dallas games. When and where. And then the third thing I look for is the bye week. How good of timing is the bye week? I always want it in the middle of the season. Boom, you got it in the middle of the season. Maybe it's because you lost in the Super Bowl. You're the best team in the NFC. Whatever it may be, it is coming. Well, I shouldn't say that. Somebody made fun of me saying that. That's a crush.
What?
I say whatever it may be too much. But you can you go into this bye at a perfect time. Now, the Dallas Goedert thing, that's tough. That's a real tough one.
Well, we're going to find out. Now, the weird thing is
I don't think he can play with a broken arm.
Now, here's the weird one, though, is that I can't give his last name, but Jake is a doctor.
Elliot.
And he is an orthopedist. And he says there are so many different ways you can have a forearm break. And there are many ways, in fact, the majority of ways, that if he took 4 weeks off, he'd be back and be able to play in a soft cast.
Yeah, so that's an IR stint.
That's an IR stint.
Yeah.
At a critical stretch of games.
Yeah.
Just like last year. Just like last year with Dallas Goedert. We missed him at a critical stretch of games last year.
Shoulder last year.
And you're going to miss him again. So Nick Sirianni talked about, though, Jalen Hurts. And here's something that's really, really important. And it was one of the things that was talked about on the Fox early pregame show yesterday. I was doing a lot of napping, so laying on the couch watching football. And they talked about it. The league watches injuries very much. And Jalen Hurts not being listed at all on the injury report is a big deal. And here's Nick Sirianni speaking a little bit about that.
Again, he's tough. He's tough as heck. He's never been on the injury report, though, because his play status has never been in doubt. And great leader, great player, rises to the occasion in big-time moments. It's just that's who he is. And so, whether his body's feeling 100%, whether his body's you're not feeling 100%, and which nobody's body is at this particular time, he's a warrior. He's going to play through bumps and bruises, and he's going to play at a high level because he's a big-time player.
It's interesting because they talked about the fact is organizations can face up to millions of dollars in fines if they fudge with the injury report now because of their gambling allegiances and their association with sports books and official sports books and things like that. Millions of dollars in fines. So obviously, whatever Jalen Hurts is dealing with, he's not dealing with a major injury. He's dealing with a nagging injury, and they don't have to list nagging injuries.
No, I mean, if you go to him on Monday or Tuesday, whatever, and say you think you're good to go, how's the knee? I'm fine. I'm ready to go.
I'm ready to go.
Why do I have to tell the league or anybody else that he's injured? Now, the other way, if a guy, looks like he's going to go the whole time and then all of a sudden at the end doesn't, or vice versa. The guy says he's going. This whole crap of injury reports and teams don't know that Jalen Hurts has a bum left knee. Tell Lawrence that. Tell me his helmet wasn't,
he knew exactly what he was
keenly
doing.
placed yesterday. So,
and good for him because that's part of the game. I mean, he wasn't. I don't think it was a dirty hit, but I think it was a focused hit. I don't think it was dirty.
I don't. Going after knees is.
Do you think the Goddard hit was dirty? The Goddard takedown was dirty?
No, Goddard puts himself if you guys remember, and we go back and look at Dallas Goddard, he has really gone after that forearm shove every time he catches a ball. He really looks for it, for that straight arm. Yeah, I thought it was wrapping. John, I told you, and I swear to God on this, I told you when that as soon as he got tackled, before he even started holding, I said to my wife, I think he just broke his arm.
It's amazing.
The way he went down and the way the guy was holding it, I swear to God that I said to my wife, I think he just broke his arm. And then he's sitting there and she's like, oh, my God. And, that's dirty play? No, because he's so apt at shoving people's face with that right arm. The guy got it out of the way and held on to it to tackle him.
Sean in Swedesboro joins us. Sean, I'm going to tell you in a warning, your argument here is one of my most annoying that I find in sports radio. So get after it, buddy. How are you?
Well, nonetheless, you're a superhero, John. Keep fighting.
Thank you, buddy. I appreciate you. Thank you.
Listen, I'm ecstatic that they're 8-1. I'm ecstatic. But the truth of the matter is we know how bad this team's playing. Last year, they dominated teams all through the season. They're not dominating anyone. And I would be afraid of any team coming to, even in our own stadium, during the playoffs.
Any team. You'd be afraid of Seattle coming in? You'd be afraid of Seattle coming in?
The Washington Redskins took them to overtime.
Yeah.
It's come on, man. They got a lot to clean up over the next several weeks, and now they're down Dallas Goddard.
Well, they got eight games to clean it up.
Oh, well, that's great. They had 8 games already to clean it up.
I got you, but
hearing about the cleanup process. When does the cleanup process end?
Well, I got to tell you, I think the two coordinators seem a little over their skis. But I would ask you this: who's better? Anybody?
You're right about that. There's no one playing dominating football, and that's definitely
to our advantage. Thank you, Sean. I appreciate you, buddy. I mean, nobody's playing. They're finding ways to win. Dallas has lost 3 games. 49ers have lost 3 games. Bengals have lost 3 games. Bills are not even in the playoffs this morning, by the way. Remember that gauntlet? Remember the gauntlet, how bad the gauntlet was going to be? 49ers have lost 3 in a row. Bills aren't even a playoff team right now in the AFC. I mean, that's why the 1-loss games in August make no sense, because you think something looks really, really hard. I don't think the gauntlet looks nearly as daunting as it did.
Well, that's the same as preseason, though. It could look worse in a couple of weeks. All of a sudden, San Francisco could be playing really good football. Dallas Goddard is ruled out or something like that, and you're saying, all right, who's your...
And then you're like, boom.
It's such a week-to-week thing, and that's why it's kind of... You have to look at the big picture. I still think, San Francisco was the best team in football the first 5 weeks of the season, and we're saying... Yeah, but that's okay because they're playing their best football now and maybe not later. Whatever. It's just the roller coaster of the season. The roller coaster is the ups and downs, and the Eagles are just steady.
Steady Eddies?
Yeah, steady, not reaching the peak, but just steady getting to the finish line.
And by the way, you just mentioned
the clutch, Pat.
You mentioned a team that dealt with an injury at quarterback. Brock Purdy was dealing with a concussion.
Right.
So it kind of goes back to what, John, you were talking about a little while ago, where we're going to have to deal with this every year for Jalen Hurts. I really just think that's the nature of the NFL now. I mean, the 49ers aren't playing well. They were on a bye yesterday, but they're really banged up.
Yes, they are.
Dealing with that, having the depth, that's part of the NFL. When Cam Jurgens goes down, you need a Sua Opeta. You need a Tyler Steen to throw in there. When Nakobe Dean goes down, you need a Nicholas Morrow to go in there. That's part of it. And I know, Boom Boom and Squiggy out in San Fran are probably making excuses left and right, but, you got to have depth. If you don't have depth, it's going to do you in.
Yeah, look at Cincinnati, and I bring this up because Jeff Burrow's on my fantasy team. They start bad, and everybody's like, oh, what's going on here? And Jeff Burrow has that calf injury.
Jeff?
And
Joe Burrow.
Joe Burrow.
What are you doing? Who's Jeff?
and Joe Burrow has that injury, and you're kind of like, all right, what's going on here? They get an off week. He comes back, and not only is he throwing better last week, but he's also running the football. Boom, he looks like he's all better, and last night he goes up against Buffalo and has another really good game. It's just the ins and outs of it. Jalen Hurts might come back 2 weeks from now and not even be limping at all.
So when Joe Burrow was bad, he was Jeff Burrow.
His twin brother's named Jeff.
When Jalen's bad,
he gave up his
is he
twin
Jeff
brother.
Hurts?
Yeah.
At birth, because they knew he wasn't going to be as good a football.
Could have.
Hey, I have a strange analysis that I want to do between the Eagles of this year and the Phillies. We'll get to that, too, plus your calls at 610-632-0975. John Kincade Show on 97.5 The Fanatic.
Fanatic Sports Update.
Brought to you by our friends at the Bet Parks app, sportsbook and casino in one sleek, easy-to-use app in Pennsylvania and New Jersey. And you know what every Monday is? It's a football Monday on The Fanatic, presented by Pierce Phelps Bryant Heating and Air Conditioning Contractors. Visit nopaybryant.com for flexible spending options on a new heating and cooling system. Very interesting. I must ask you this for a honest evaluation. And I really believe this, is that the things that you don't do, that you end up not doing well, or you don't end up fixing, usually end up coming back and costing you. So I ask of you, this reminds me a lot of our conversations during the year with the Phillies. Everybody's like, it's okay, they're winning. They're winning. Just accept the wins. They're winning. Doesn't matter what they don't do well until it does. And 2 years in a row, the same thing has sunk the Phillies at home, clutch time, last 2 home games, chance to win championships, and it's cost them. I don't know if there's a team, though, Bob, that can exploit necessarily what the Eagles don't do well. But the Eagles are dancing a tightrope this year that they didn't dance last year. But again, important to note, second in scoring this year, right where they were last year, top of the NFL, but 19th in points allowed this year. That's a dramatic drop-off. Dramatic from where they were last year.
Yeah,
last year they were trucking people.
It comes down to, is it fair to compare this team to last year? I mean, last year, none of us expected that at the beginning of the season.
No.
This year, we expected what they did last year at the beginning of the season. Well, guess what?
Fair.
There's 31 other teams in the NFL that are going to try to make them not look like they did last year. And some of them, maybe all 9 of them, have succeeded in those games. So sports is weird. And I can't.
You always say that.
But
it's funny. It is.
They could have the mentality now. And this season could end with a Super Bowl, ugly win in a Super Bowl.
We'll be fine with that.
And we'll all say, wow, how'd they do it? I don't know. I've told you before about teams that I've covered where somebody put it great, an athlete put it great to me before, and it was something that I totally agreed with. I brought it up to him, and he said it, was sometimes you just have that mentality of you're in the middle of a game, and you start thinking, how are we going to lose this game, as opposed to how are we going to win this game? I think the Eagles have that total mentality of, all right, how are we going to win this game? The Sixers on the road a couple years ago, really good team. At home, 5-6 losses? At home. They went on the road, and it was, how are we going to lose this game? Because they were a bad road team. A lot of it is mentality, yes. Of course, a lot of it's physicality also. The Eagles just know how to win games right now, and it can carry you through as well as great physical play. And you need no other comparison than the team of last year.
29th in pass defense, though, Pat's not going to cut it. There are only three worse teams in the NFL, and that's on Sean Desai.
Yeah.
This is on Sean Desai. He's not scheming up, or is the talent not that good?
No, I think it's a scheme. Like, I know that people will go age is a factor and all that, but it's hard for me to believe that Darius Slay and James Bradbury both have all of a sudden fallen off a cliff because of Father Time. I think it's scheme. You saw Darius Slay struggle in Jim Schwartz's scheme his first year here.
Right.
And next thing you know, Jonathan Gannon came in and it looked, oh, there's Darius Slay. So I do think it's scheme, and it's on Sean decided to change things up and get the secondary going, because you look on paper at the secondary and it's loaded. And then they go out on Sunday and they don't show it. Now, I have faith that it will change, because Sean Desai has shown, and this is something that Gannon didn't do, is he can adjust. His second half adjustments, I think, have been pretty decent this season.
I think decent, yes.
He's tried some things out. He's changed some things up. So I do think that the bye week isn't just good for players. It's good for coaches to address what's working, what isn't. And right now, whatever Sean Desai is doing with his cornerbacks isn't really working.
I want to ask Nick Sirianni, and thankfully somebody did ask it at the press conference, what was the plan on CeeDee Lamb yesterday?
He's a really outstanding player. Obviously, he did a good job today. They got him the ball a lot, threw it to him a lot. Yeah, we tried to give some different looks, but again, him and Dak make it difficult to take him away just because of how good they are and how much rhythm and how much chemistry they have. I'm really impressed by that. You know, I think the world of Dak Prescott. I think the world of CeeDee Lamb, and they had a good game today. But we tried to throw some different wrinkles at them, trying to slow them down.
when the different wrinkles are Eli Ricks and Sidney Brown.
You're asking a lot of young players.
You're asking a whole lot of young players. Now, some people, have said on the YouTube chat and on tweeting and stuff, why don't you just line up Darius Slay, who's supposed to be your best corner, with CeeDee Lamb one-on-one the whole game and go from there?
They tried in the fourth quarter for around 10 snaps or something.
It's a good question. It's a real good question. Maybe even you go Bradbury or something, because in the first half, they didn't go towards Bradbury's side hardly at all. And was he playing that well? Maybe. Late in the game, he didn't look all that great.
Ooh.
But, there's two ways to look at it. Yeah, Sean Desai is throwing different things to try, but look what you're throwing in there. You're
It's not last year. It's not last year's personnel.
No.
And I think C.J. Gardner-Johnson, who was injured this year, by the way, so he wouldn't even, he got injured in Detroit. Nothing so would happen here. But, Pat, they're missing him big time. He was a huge part of what they did last year.
I wonder how he would do in this Sean Desai system.
Right.
He flourished in Jonathan Gannon's system, but the system that Sean Desai is running is different. So I think, they went out and addressed the safety position for a reason at the deadline. And, they got Kevin Byard. But I do wonder if they maybe regret bringing Bradbury back and not C.J. Gardner-Johnson. But then again, as you just said, we're talking about an injured player.
Yeah, well, he got injured in Detroit.
Yeah,
not saying that would happen here.
Yeah, you can't say that it definitely would happen here. But
I wouldn't have signed two old corners, and I am not using 2020 hindsight. I said it all along. I would have let one of them go. I would have chosen which one I wanted to stay with. I would probably have been Slay, probably, and then I would have let the other one go. Because I just think having one of the oldest tandems at cornerback is not a winning proposition in NFL history.
Okay, Slay on the back end of his career. I hear you. Are you getting somebody better?
Well, I think you go and you get somebody that's cheaper and you get somebody that is necessary. Well, there's better than I said, though. Well, there's better than Bradbury this year. There's plenty of guys playing better than Bradbury.
Okay, were they available? You know what I'm saying?
Right,
like
I understand.
It's kind of.
Did he fall off a cliff though? Pat said earlier. I believe guys, and you hear about it, wide receivers and corners, like they hit an age in their 30s and all of a sudden, there's one step and they're in trouble.
There's also some concerning things. Like last night, they ran an out. I think it might have been Lamb. It probably was because he caught everything. But they ran an out, and Sidney Brown was on him, and Sidney Brown got muffled up, took the wrong way to go, and got caught up with another receiver and another corner and left him wide open. Like pushing off on this, pushing off on that, and I don't mean pushing physically, but if I'm a safety or a corner, I'm pushing coverage to my safety. They don't seem like they're on the same page in all flat because it's not them hitting receivers, it's them hitting wide open receivers a lot of times.
Does it come down to this in a way? Yesterday's game, Jalen Hurts number 1 in the NFL in passer rating when trailing. Dak Prescott number 32 in the NFL. Last in passer rating when trailing.
Huh.
That's
Does it
amazing.
say something?
It's 1 and 32. Dak is the worst.
Yeah.
Jalen's the best, and Jalen made plays yesterday.
Yeah, they got behind again. They come right back. They have a real propensity for getting behind and coming back on the next drive.
They do.
And scoring touchdowns. It's pretty impressive.
Hey, Jeff in D.C. joins us. Jeff, good morning. You're on the Fanatic. How are you, buddy?
I'm doing great. How are you guys doing?
Great to hear from you, man. What's going on?
Hey, listen, I'm not going to sit here. The first thing I'm not going to sit here all pie in the sky like everything's fine. But the fact is that last year is last year. We can't compare this year's team to last year's team for a number of reasons. The big reason is because last year's team was playing in last year's league. The league is different this year. There is no dominant team this year. This time last year, we're looking at us. We're looking at Kansas City. We're looking at Buffalo. We're looking at Cincinnati. We're looking at all these teams that were at San Francisco, all these teams that were really, really good last year. There's not one team, not one, that I'm afraid of this year. Not
one at all. If they put it, you don't think 49ers, if they put it together?
No, but that's a big if, and they're hurt. And I don't believe in Brock Purdy at all anymore. And I've never been a Kyle Shanahan fan, so I'm the wrong one to ask about San Francisco. I think they're fraudulent. I've always have. But with this team, the best team that we're going to face this year is going to come in the Super Bowl. It's going to be Baltimore or Cincinnati or Kansas City. I'm not scared of anybody in the NFC because everybody in the NFC is going to have to come to our place.
That's where I started. That's where I started today, Jeff, is the idea that if you're going to tell me that they're that bad, who's better? And in the NFC,
better?
I don't really know.
That's exactly right. Who's better? And that's my point.
Jeff, is this a fair?
Not last year.
Is this a fair statement to you? The team that you fear the most in the NFC is the Eagles?
Yes, that's a 100% a fair statement.
Okay.
And I get why everybody has angst. I get that. I'm not sitting here saying they're out there playing perfectly. But the bottom line is, for Christ's sake, we're 8-1, and people are calling in like we're 5-4. They're going to win the Super Bowl. They're the best team in the league.
I love that. I love hearing that one. See you in Vegas. Love hearing that one.
Yeah, I was thinking of that on the drive in today. You get 2 home games in the playoffs. Or is anybody going to come in here in a playoff situation with these fans, with this team, and win?
I do not believe that is.
I don't either.
Highly likely.
And that's where you are at 8-1.
You got to get that 2-win scenario, though.
Yeah.
You have to have the easy path.
Oh, no question.
Got to have it. You can't have the 3 wins. And by the way, Dallas has already lost 3 road games. If Dallas doesn't win the division, they got to go on the road 3 times to get to the Super Bowl. That ain't happening. That is not happening. My wife hates when I use ain't. Karen is on the line. Karen B., put your hand on the Bible.
Listening.
What's going on?
Good morning. Good morning, everybody. How are you?
Hi, Karen. You sound up today.
I am totally up.
I love it.
But I'll tell you, that was another nail biter again. I mean, that went down to the final second, and we won it by inches. It's great going into the bye week with a win. But I'll tell you, when Jalen went down and then tried to get up and then kind of stumbled again, I was like, oh, my God, my worst nightmare is coming true. And I was like, no. But he's a tough player. He came back in. Penalties are killing us. And in the fourth quarter, 3 straight 3s and outs. Given
the play calling in the fourth quarter was horrendous.
Oh, it sucked.
No, they didn't. They don't understand time.
They definitely don't. That's what kept Dallas in. If they would have just kept going, running the ball, just doing whatever they had to do, dink, dunk, I don't care. Just keep the damn ball.
I love it, Karen. I love your passion. You have any home games scheduled, by the way, to come up for?
I'm sorry, John, what?
Do you have any home games scheduled to come up for?
Matt and I are thinking about it. I don't know if we're going to be able to get tickets, though.
Well, you better get up here. That's all I know. We need you. I would say this. One more, Pat, this is going to piss you off a little bit because it almost cost you on that tweet of yours.
Mm-hmm.
One more running call by Sean Desai. 2 more running calls. One more running call by Brian Johnson in the fourth quarter. 2 more running calls by Brian Johnson. There would have been no time on the clock. The Eagles never would have had to punt the ball. One more running play, the Cowboys would have had like 15 seconds.
Yeah, we're an hour and 37 in. We haven't even talked about that 3rd and 3 call.
Oh, we're getting into it. I'm giving you the stage coming up.
Yeah, it's
so hold it in, let it fester, because it was terrible.
Yeah, I can laugh about it now because they won, but man, in the moment, yeah.
I would love to sit with Brian Johnson and go, okay, I'm not a football coach, but I think I understand time, down, and distance and game better than you do. The clock. I really do. Terrible. His play calling yesterday, as far as the clock was concerned, was terrible. And I'm teeing Pat up for this coming up.
Yeah.
It was terrible.
Yeah, it wasn't good. They ran the ball 4 consecutive times in the fourth quarter on first down. And each of them went 3 or 4.
2
I'm not
yards,
sure.
maybe.
2 yards. Yeah, each of them went 2 yards. It was 2nd and 8 on every play. Just too obvious of what they're doing at times. And, yeah, and here's another thing. Now, you brought up today, you thought that Rashad Penny looked good in his 2 carries. Why are you starting a half of football with a guy in the backfield that hasn't played all year?
Maybe they're not as used to fresh legs. I don't know. But guess what? He came in right away, and then they went away. They completely went away from him.
Well, they should. He shouldn't even, he hasn't played all year. You gave him his 2 carries. Okay, great. He had 2 yards on one and 6 yards on another. Why is he starting a second half? I don't care who it is. I don't care if it was Boston Scott, whatever.
You want
Why
somebody
is a guy that hasn't played all year starting your second half? You deferred so that you could put Rashad Penny out there?
Here's what I know, though. Look what happens with the Eagles. When Nick Sirianni is going to talk about it later, but the idea of their scripted first drive
Again, great.
And then when in a game, Brian Johnson has to call a game on the fly, not scripted, they make crazy decisions. Clock management with this team offensively is terrible. Capital T, terrible. They gave them an opportunity yesterday. That ball, we should never have seen what we saw at the end of the game if he runs the ball one more time. But he didn't. Hey, Michael in Yardley joins us on The Fanatic. Good morning, Michael.
Good morning, guys. Happy Victory Monday.
It is wonderful to be 8-1, isn't it?
It's awesome to be 8-1. And you said something that is so profound that I think is the key to this season. We're 8-1 only because of Jalen Hurts. It's because when trailing or tied, he's the best quarterback in the NFL right now.
Period.
And that's what makes me nervous because of the injury that he's dealing with. We might not get – as of now, we do still have that same Jalen, but you do not know how that's going to look at the end of the season.
And we know this, and we know that if he has to go to Marcus Mariota, he couldn't lead a bachelor party to a strip club. I mean, honestly. He's quit on 2 teams already. This would, I don't think he'd quit on them, but
guys,
he's not good.
Some real coaching insight that's really just getting on my nerves, and you guys alluded to it with the 3rd and 3. Sirianni had the boldness to say this about a couple of weeks ago. When we get the ball and it's 1st and 10, it's actually 1st and 9.
Right.
He said that a couple of weeks ago. So when it's 3rd and 3 at the end of the game,
run the
ball.
Correct.
Worst comes to worst. You get time off the clock, and you run for no gain, and you punt the ball with 40 seconds left off of the clock. Worst comes to worst. Best comes to best. It's 4th and 1, and you
tush push and you win the game.
With the QB sneak.
I think we're getting a little carried. It wasn't the end of the game. There was 5 minutes to go on the 3rd and 3.
You had the ball, and you could keep it away from them, and you could make them one more first down.
I know. The one more first down doesn't do anything. There's 5 minutes to go. That's an eternity. Like, I didn't like the play, but like the guy just said, it's the end of the game. Nah, there's 5 minutes to go. There's a whole lot that can happen. I didn't love the play, but I don't think we can simply say, if they'd have run the ball there, they could have run out the clock. There's 5 full minutes.
It would have taken 40 seconds off the clock. We can say that.
Sure.
And that 40 seconds then at the end of the game.
If they got a first down.
No. If they just run the ball and don't have an incompletion.
Okay.
It's 40 seconds that doesn't allow it.
Yeah, but you can't take the 5 minute mark and equate it down to the last couple seconds of the game. Like, it's just, I didn't agree with the call.
Right.
But like, I just don't want people to get misconstrued here. It wasn't the end of the game. There was still 5 minutes to go.
All right, we get Doug in Willow Grove. Doug, good morning. You're on excuse me. Hold on a second, Doug. I'm sorry. Went the wrong way. E-Rock, my man. How are you, buddy? I saw you hanging out with Jen Fred.
Yeah, no, she was wonderful. John, I got to be completely 100% honest and transparent with you. I've never, ever in my life been so excited for a bye week at all. I feel like myself, and speaking on behalf of everyone else, we could use a mental health week. And I think the Eagles could use a physical health week. The 2 things that got me concerned, I am over the moon at the fact that they beat the Cowboys.
Oh, yes.
2 things that got me concerned. In that stadium, there was an audible gasp and a silence and a collective worry when Fletcher Cox and Hassan Reddick and Dallas Goedert, I hope he's okay, and especially Jalen Hurts went down. But I'm starting to worry about the accrued injuries that this team is going to face. And then the second worry is I believe 100% in the players in this team. You heard Jalen Hurts say it, that he'll do anything for the city. I believe that these players play for each other, play for the city, and will control what they can control. What they cannot control is the play calling. And I don't want to do any foreshadowing, but this thing has me worried. And they need to figure it out in the bye week.
They really do, buddy. And you need a bye. I said it today. I need a bye week next week. I really do. Everybody's tired. Good job, buddy. Great seeing you, Rock.
Oh, he's the man. I told him yesterday. He was at the tailgate. I told him, I said, dude, whenever I see you, whether it's on, the things that he posts, his hype videos, or he comes to our tailgate to do his thing, he just puts a smile on my face. And he was down there yesterday. Oh, you know what? That's where the traffic thing started. Karate Mark, another good friend of the show.
He screwed up the traffic? Karate Mark?
He was with E-Rock early yesterday. He sent me a text at like 10 o'clock. He goes, yo, dude, what time you coming down? because we were at the Sixers game together on Thursday, and I said, "Yeah, I'll probably be there in about an hour." He goes, "Man, traffic's bad," and this was at 10 o'clock.
And he warned you.
Yeah, 10 a.m. So one of our friends of the show, who I promised my wife I wouldn't say his name all that much anymore, has been a season ticket holder for 35 years. He said yesterday was the worst to get in.
Wait a minute.
The worst.
What's this about?
Donna told me not to bring up Joey Merton's name anymore.
I love Joey Merton's name.
Because I did it too much.
We love Joey Merton.
I know. She just said the back.
Come on. By the way,
I think his wife Debbie was getting mad at me.
Just so you know, this morning, Arizona. Did you hear the little offhanded comment from Gannon? They were asking because they're clearly tanking. The roster they built, they got rid of veterans. They're trying to tank. They want to be able to get top quarterback in the draft and be able to build around it. They asked him about getting rid of Joshua Dobbs. And Joshua Dobbs, well, we want to look at some of our young guys. Joshua Dobbs goes and wins a game yesterday for Minnesota at Atlanta after Arizona trades him during the week. Midweek, he steps in, and he absolutely wins that game. It's funny. They're just like, they're not making any mistake of them tanking. And right now, the Bears have the second and third picks in the draft. Talk about controlling a draft. That's a pretty big thing coming. We got a lot coming your way. You'll hear from Nick Sirianni and Jalen Hurts on the mistakes and what needs to be fixed. We'll get to that. Plus, we've got more of your calls at 610-632-0975. John Kincade Show here on 97.5.
Philadelphia, a Beasley Media Group station. Official home of the Sixers, Flyers, Union, and the best Eagles talk in Philadelphia. 97.5, The Fanatic. Now, back to the John Kincade Show on 97.5, The Fanatic, Philadelphia.
So damn proud. All right, I've been keeping this a secret from you, but at 8 o'clock, you're going to have your first chance. Your first. To get an opportunity to qualify to win a trip to spring training. Already thinking about the Phils next year? It's going to be awesome. 8 o'clock, be listening. I'll tell you what you need to do in order to qualify. And we're going to have qualifiers over the next 2 weeks, 3 a day. So you get an opportunity there to be able to qualify across the board for a trip with Philly Sports Trips, which is always great. That's a great, great time. Never a problem.
They are the best. And yesterday we had a bunch of people from England at
Wasn't
the
that
tailgate.
great?
Yep, great guys. Liam came on the air with us. Really cool guys. Got to meet Vince's father yesterday, Vince Rizzuto, who runs Philly Sports Trips. Got to meet his dad yesterday, George.
Hello, George.
It's such a great tailgate. I had a stranger come over to me yesterday when I was going to get some food before we went on air. And just say, do you guys get to come to this every week? And I said, yeah. So, oh, my God, you're so lucky. This is awesome. It's just when you watch yesterday, all of the traffic and all the things, you don't have to clean up. You don't have to set up. You come,
that's great.
You eat, you drink, you're entertained, and everybody kind of packs up about an hour before the game and makes their way over. It's absolutely perfect.
Well, let's see what Doug in Willow Grove has to say. Doug, good morning. You're on the Fanatic.
Good morning, gentlemen. Hey, just a quick comment about when we were talking about the comparison thing. Well, first off, I completely agree. The pass coverage issue is still there, and we even saw that.
29th is terrible.
Yeah. But one thing I think we need to take into account when we're doing the comparison is, I seem to think over the last couple of years we always talk about, well, these guys haven't really beaten anybody. And this year when we saw the schedule, we even said, this is going to be a tougher schedule. And I would suspect that even the teams that maybe we don't think are all that good, the offensive line plays probably better on this schedule. And also, as we all know, we got a target on our back in the NFC. So
I didn't think about that, Doug. I know, that didn't enter my mind, and it is a valid point.
So that's all I wanted to bring up. I really enjoyed the show. Thankfully, my high blood pressure medication kicked in last night. Otherwise, you might have seen me in the news. But, oh, my God, great win.
Hey, today's the
news or nude?
In the news.
Oh, okay.
Today is the number one day for heart attacks, by the way. So be careful. I got to tell you this. Christina says because I'm hopped up on the steroids for 11 weeks of treatments that I am cursing much more. And I never curse. My daughter will tell you that she heard her dad curse once in 19 years. She's heard her dad curse. I cursed so much during that game yesterday. She goes, what is going on? You're cursing. You never do this. But I am hopped up, man. And yesterday was a cursing day. And Pat Egan, part of the reason I was cursing was something you wanted to talk about. And I just want to put it on a tee for you. I put the tee in the ground, put the ball right there, and I know you can deliver it right down the fairway.
This is Pat's point of view. Here's Pat.
What the hell's Brian Johnson doing? What the hell's he doing? 3rd and 3. 3rd and 3. You ran the ball twice, right? You ran the ball twice, 3rd and 3. What are we going to do? We're going to run the ball again?
And then get a 4th and 1, maybe.
No, we're not going to do that.
We're not doing
that.
We're
going to air it out like it's 1st and 10. That's what we're going to do. Now, this is one of the reasons why I do not listen to post-game press conferences. Because Nick Sirianni, after the game, he goes, oh, no, I like the call. Yeah, nobody liked that call. Nobody liked that call. No one in their right mind could have been in that situation and liked that call. I understand he's defending his OC, but that gets me very agitated when I hear the head coach go, oh, no, I like that call. No, you didn't. No, you didn't. And if you did like the call, there's a bigger problem. 3rd and 3, this moron is taking shots, right? We never should have been in the situation that they found themselves in late in the game. If, as you said, and that was my first thought too, 3rd and 3, you take it, you run the ball.
40 seconds.
You get 2 yards. Guess what? Now it's 4th and 1. and you're doing the push and you're getting a first down, and then we can just, we can all sit back and I'm grabbing Legos and, Bob's having key parties and whatnot. No, but what happens? We have to air it out, right? We got to make a statement. And it wasn't even a well-thrown ball. It was bad. So this crap that we have to deal with every week of him, it's getting to the point, and we are 9 weeks in, where I pray to God they go deep in the playoffs, not just because I'm an Eagles fan and I want them to do well and, win a Super Bowl. I'm praying to God so that somebody will make a mistake and hire this guy as a head coach and they can actually get a real offensive coordinator in here. Because when he's not scripting plays, it is just, and we didn't even talk about this because it worked. It worked finally. We have more Kenny Gainwell on the goal line.
Yep.
Look, it was a great run, all right? The offensive line opened up holes. But it's just this guy's not learning anything. He's not changing his ways. This is the guy that 2 weeks ago said, we can throw the ball 50 times. You can't.
No.
I feel like I'm living in a bizarro world here. So if there was the big complaint that I had yesterday's game that, jumps out to me, and it jumped out to a lot of people, 3rd and 3, I have no faith in this guy moving forward. None. I mean, I hope to God that during the bye week he can change, but I don't have a lot of faith in that happening because he hasn't shown a propensity to change.
I don't know what he's thinking of, Pat. Like his awareness of down and distance and clock is as bad as I've ever seen. It's terrible. Andy Reid pulled some of this stuff sometimes.
It just makes no sense.
No, it makes no sense. That made no sense.
If you want to take a shot 1st and 10, fine. Even 2nd and 10, fine. Third and 3?
When you're trying to limit time.
And we're not even doing a crossing pattern, a quick strike. You're airing it out for a 15-yard gain. I'm confused.
Yeah, you have every right to be confused. Good job, Pat. You have every right to be confused.
Yeah, it was all right.
Time and his down and distance awareness is so poor.
Yeah, that like I said, I didn't love the call. I don't know how much. There was 26 plays run after that play.
I got you.
Dallas had all 3 timeouts.
But that was 3rd and 3.
I know it was. I didn't like the call. You go back and look how they ran the ball all during the game. They didn't run it well. They didn't run it well at all. They haven't been running it well. I'm not going to defend, but I'm not as upset about it as I'll say Pat was.
I just want 40 seconds off the clock. And any Pop Warner coach knows you're taking 40 seconds off the clock there. You're limiting opportunities. I don't want to limit your opportunity, though, because I want you to be able to go to spring training. How about that?
97.5 The Fanatic. Win a free trip or 2 to spring training 2024.
All right, the 15th caller right now to the Fanatic contest line at 215-263-0975 is going to win themselves a $25 Rally House gift card, Bob. And then they'll be entered to win a trip for 2 to spring training 2024. Sponsored by Rally House. It's your city. It's your house. Shut your mouth. Go to Rally House. PhillySportsTrips.com, where you travel with the pros, and 97.5 The Fanatic. You're absolutely have an awesome opportunity here. 15th caller, 215-263-0975. You'll have another chance to win today at noon with Andrew, and another chance to win at 4 today with the best show ever. So 3 qualifiers a day for 2 weeks.
Oh, that's awesome.
So there are 30 people in the hopper. You know you're getting a Rally House gift card, and you have a 1 in 30 chance to win a trip for 2 to spring training. Can't beat it.
And we were just in Clearwater Beach not too long ago. It is beautiful down there.
I am looking forward to seeing it.
You know how nice it is. I've never been there before. You've been there before.
I've been there many times. My brother lived in Tampa, so it was good. Hey, let's go to the Comcast Business Hotline, where every day in business is a big day, and Comcast Business gets you ready for what's next. He's becoming a staple on the Fanatic, this Andrew DiCecco, as he joins us here on the Comcast Business Hotline. Andrew, is it clear to say I tried to think of a big game win for the Eagles that looked sort of uglier than that one, but it counts, and they're 8-1.
Boy, I'm still trying to wrap my head around what I just saw at the link last night, John. I must have changed my game, my topper for my game story at least 4 times. But you said it. The Eagles improved to 8-1, and the bye week comes at a great time. They obviously have some key injuries with Jalen Hurts with the knee, Dallas Goedert with the forearm injury, and Nakobe Dean with the foot, and they should be getting Bradley Roby back after the bye.
Well, there's a little bit of good news then. A little bit of positives.
Yeah, were you a little bit surprised, Andrew, last night at the way Sean Desai covered/didn't cover CeeDee Lamb? We saw a lot of the young kids getting on him at times. How do you think he handled it?
Well, I certainly anticipate a little bit more maybe of a blitz-heavy approach, maybe not a heavy approach, but maybe setting a little bit extra pressure, knowing what you had on the back end, knowing that CeeDee Lamb can really stress and put unique stresses on a defense. And you didn't really see that. He was, adamant about sending just 4 guys, and it put Eli Ricks on an island. Eli Ricks is playing out of position. I just want to remind folks that he's really an outside corner playing on the inside, and he's drawn Cooper Kupp in there, and on in an assignment. He's also had CeeDee Lamb. CeeDee Lamb obviously had 191 yards, 11 targets. But to put a young player on the island like they did, it's a big ask, especially when you're not sending extra pressure. So I was a little bit curious. That was a little bit of a curious decision to not sort of alleviate some of the pressure on the back end.
I got a little bit of a concern about down and distance, time management from Brian Johnson in this offense. It seems like when they're scripted, things work really, really well. But when it's not scripted, I think maybe maybe it's the pressure of calling it under pressure, but their decision-making with time and distance just makes no sense to me.
Yeah, that's fair. There were times, John, especially early in the game, when I'm like, wow, that was a really cohesive, rhythmic drive, and the Eagles, you start to think that Brian Johnson's really starting to hit his stride. And then there's moments like that 3rd and 3 play where they're uncorking a deep shot to A.J. on the left sideline with about 4:50 left, when you probably would just hand the ball off and like to kind of drain some more clock, that you're kind of like, well, I don't understand what that play call is. So I think they're still working through some things there. But largely, John, I would say that Brian Johnson's done a pretty good job as we reach the bye week.
Andrew, I want to get back to you talking about the going one-on-one with the defensive line most of the time. I don't see a lot of stunts. I don't see a lot of sending the 5th man in. You're coming off a team that had 70 sacks last year, and you're just looking to win one-on-one battles, which isn't going all that well. Is that the way you're seeing it? And if so, why is Sean Desai kind of against stunning and doing different things?
Yeah, there weren't a lot of elaborate line games, Bob. You're correct on that. And I really do think that, Dak Prescott historically has handled the blitz pretty well. And I think that Desai was probably a little bit hesitant and being aggressive and sending blitzes and potentially leaving guys vulnerable on the back end, if he's kind of like what you saw last week in Washington. So I think it's probably going to be a week-to-week situation here, and it might change when you get some more stability in the secondary with the Bradley Roby coming back, and as Kevin Byard continues to get his legs and get familiar with the system, you might see a little bit more elaborate calls. But as of yesterday, that was my guess as to why you saw it play out the way that it did.
Andrew, I'm Floyd. Andrew Checo from Inside the Birds joining us on the Comcast Business Hotline. The offense, second in scoring, and we still have some issues with the offense and what they're doing. But the defense, 19th in points allowed, 29th in pass defense. That to me is unacceptable. That's I don't care who you're putting out there. This Eagles team is too talented to be 29th in pass defense.
Yeah, absolutely. And I would look at someone like James Bradbury, who's coming off an all-pro season. I think he's really struggled this season, John, committing egregious penalties like late in the game that you just can't have. Slay, I thought, he's showing himself to be even more physical as a player than he was last year. He's a willing tackler. He's really getting after it. So I've liked what I've seen from Darius Slay. The 2 safeties, Blankenship's flashed on occasion, but Byard in his 2-game sample size hasn't really. I think he's struggling to find his way here. I thought that the tight end Jake Ferguson, 91 yards, he averaged 33 yards coming into the game. He had a field day. The middle of the field was wide open. It's not limited to just Byard and Blankenship, but the linebackers as well. But you can't. I mean, the secondary for everything that's been invested in there, and the veteran-laden secondary, you would certainly expect them to rise to the occasion and clean things up a lot more than they have through 9 games.
Andrew, now that they're going to be missing Dallas Goedert for what appears to be 4 or 5 games, whatever it may be. Last year, they lost him for 5 games. Tight ends combined for 14 catches over those games. Do you see this offense changing in any noticeable way, pretty much right away with Goedert being out?
Yeah, the Eagles' offense really, you saw it last season, Bob. They struggled when Dallas Goedert's not in the lineup. Devontae Smith and A.J. Brown become the point of emphasis, but you're able to take away those 2 guys. So you're able to dedicate all your resources to stopping them, and they don't have much behind Dallas Goedert. I think that's arguably the biggest drop-off from starter to backup on the Eagles roster. Jack Stoll, Grant Calcaterra, Alberto, they've all combined for 2 catches for 10 yards this year. And I think that what Dallas Goedert provides is that short to intermediate security blanket for Hurts, someone that he can rely on to settle in the early parts of the game, and he's also a red zone threat. And to not have that, you're going to have to find ways to manufacture that in other ways, but the Eagles just don't have the guys behind him to really step in and fill that void adequately.
How confident are you, Andrew, that this team isn't far off of last year's team? Or are you?
I think they're still finding their stride, and they haven't played their best football, John.
Right.
But I think when everything clicks and they're firing on all cylinders, they're going to be they have perhaps more talent. And I'm looking at the defensive line, that healthy rotation, and the offensive line primarily. That I think that they're a team that's probably equipped to make even more noise than last year's team.
Wow, look at that,
Andrew. In your mind, who should be the starting safeties? Not who they have, and who should be the starting linebackers on this team? If everybody's healthy, in your mind, who should they be?
Wow, that's a great question. I would still point to Reed Blankenship and Kevin Byard. They're your 2 best safeties. Sidney Brown, I think, deserves to play a little bit more at safety, Bob. He's playing out of position at nickel. He's played some nickel in college, but he's really a safety. And I think for him to really develop as a player, that's what he was drafted to be. And he's sort of been cross-training between multiple spots, which sometimes can hamper your development. I think he should see more time as the third safety. And then linebacker, Zach Cunningham, to me, I think has been their best linebacker, both in run defense, but pass coverage, he's kind of surprised me. He's had some blips on the radar, but I think largely he's been pretty tight in that area. And Nicholas Morrow is going to be by default in all, for all accounts. We don't know. We'll have to wait and see what we hear about Nakobe Dean, but Morrow has played pretty well when he's been given the opportunity. So that's pretty much status quo to answer your question, Bob.
How do you think they'll handle the as far as what you know, as far as how they're handling this bye? And do they maybe give them a little more time? Do you know any details on how they're handling it this year compared to last year?
Nothing really. I think I talked to a couple players last night, and they're going to take a couple of days to rejuvenate, get their bodies right, and then also attack the training and things like that. I didn't. The couple of guys that I spoke to weren't like traveling anywhere or anything like that. But I assume it'll be a business approach, but they'll probably be afforded a couple of days there to rest up and heal up, and especially some of those key guys that really need to get well, and they're on the mend there. This bye week's crucial for them. So that's kind of, I think they're going to probably take an approach and trying to prepare themselves for the final stretch run here.
Small little thing here, Andrew, but something that kind of raised half an eyebrow yesterday afternoon when we saw the inactives. Are the Eagles done with Derek Barnett?
Well, yeah, you were just as surprised as I was. I think that the thinking here is, and because you didn't see Patrick Johnson active the past 2 weeks, and he is a Sam linebacker and an edge rusher, and that's not really what he's on the roster to do. He's a core special teamer, but I think the root of it is to get Nolan Smith more snaps, and you would think so, but he got 5 more snaps than he's normally been getting. He got 9 yesterday as opposed to the standard 4, but maybe keeping him out of there, you eliminate the possibility of any roughness penalties or egregious, infractions. But I think that'll probably be another thing. It's like a week-to-week thing, Bob, depending on how they want to deploy their personnel. But this wasn't a week where they felt that he was necessary, and I think Nolan Smith's going to continue to carve out a larger role as we get deeper into the season.
There was a story, though, that you didn't cover yesterday. I'm a little disappointed in you because you're such a talented guy at giving us stories. Who was wearing the red G-string on the sideline during that collision? Fans want to know. Did you miss that? Who's wearing a red G-string?
There's so much going on during the game. I didn't see it on Twitter until later. And
do you know who that is?
I don't have a clue. You're going to have to help me out.
Well, you're going to have to do research on that for us.
It's European.
It is European, Pat?
It's European, yeah.
It's the red G-string underwear.
It's very popular over in France.
Who's on the sideline from France, Pat? Help Andrew with the story here.
I don't have a press pass. I'm not down there.
That's the one answer I don't have for you, fellas.
Well, that's just that's the one hole from inside the birds today, no pun intended, that we're missing. And we appreciate you very much, Andrew. As always, I look forward to seeing you Friday, buddy. Take care, man.
I look forward to it. Appreciate you guys. Take
Thanks,
care.
man.
Thanks, Andrew.
Andrew DeCecco joined us on the Comcast Business Hotline. Follow him at Inside the Birds. Follow his content there. You can sign up for the newsletter. You can see their video breakdowns, which are great and very informative, and get you down there. So it's a European pet. I would think it'd be uncomfortable. Very uncomfortable.
You know, part of me feels bad for that guy.
Because now everybody knows?
Yeah, he's on the sideline. He's not expecting to have that situation happen, right? He's just doing it for himself. Right? He's just a little secret, and no one else. Oh, secret's out.
Bob, what would Glenn and Rock and Joey Merton have to say about the red G-string on the sidelines for a football staff member?
We talk about it to tell you.
Oh, you absolutely would.
Nah.
Come on, that's coming up.
If Rock got knocked over, and you saw that he was wearing
if
a
Rock
red
got
streak,
knocked over, I'm saying we're not going to talk about a guy on the Eagles sideline that got knocked over, whether he was wearing a G-string
Well,
or
Bob,
not.
this is the beautiful thing about the team being 8-1 is we can break down G-string.
These are real issues, Bob. And you choose to ignore
was it a
real
G-string?
issues.
I didn't see. I heard somebody.
It looked like the thong or the red thong. It wasn't good. So, not a good look. Hey, Football Monday on The Fanatic is presented by Pierce Phelps Bryant Heating and Air Conditioning Contractors. Visit nopaybryant.com for flexible spending options on a new heating and cooling system. So,
maybe the dude lost a bet or something. I don't know.
Which Fanatic employee would be most caught that we know on air wearing the red G-string?
There's no question about that.
No question?
Yeah, Dylan.
Is it Dylan McKinnon, you think?
Absolutely.
Yeah, Dylan probably rocks it.
Could be Connor.
Yeah, Dylan gets down.
5.
Maybe it's Connor. You never know. I think the bye week's going to be really important. Nick Sirianni addresses it and talks about it. We'll get to some of that. Plus, we hear from some of our jurors and more. We got a full board for you. John Kincade Show on 97.5, The Fanatic. Let's say you're getting ready to move, or you're finally going to clean out that garage.
5 The Fanatic, Philadelphia.
John Kincade Show on the Fanatic, 8 o'clock hour. We appreciate you being with us. It's been a celebratory morning, but with valid critique. I haven't heard one invalid criticism offered. But when you're 8-1 and nobody else is even 7-1, you got to be feeling pretty good about yourselves.
Sure.
I think that's how they're feeling this morning on a bye week. Everybody holding their breath regarding Dallas Goedert and the forearm break.
Yeah, there's some reports of maybe surgery, but still 4 to 5 weeks or whatever it may be. You get the bye week, which is good. So yeah, I don't know how this offense goes without him. We did see it for 5 weeks last year, but the numbers I gave you that somebody put out there, I forget who it was, and I apologize. Over 5 games,
it was bad.
14 catches for like 150 yards. Ugh. So do you retool the offense so you're not incorporating passing tight end? Is it all going to be, blocking tight ends from this point out? I don't know. Does this mean Julio Jones might get a bigger role?
I would think so.
Yeah, there's a lot of different ways that Brian Johnson's going to have to scheme this going forward.
By the way, Steve, one of our listeners, Steve listens
up, Steve?
every day. His son plays in the Philadelphia Public League. Broke a forearm last year in October. Had surgery on October 24th and played again on November 15th.
He's a stud.
So with a forearm after surgery, he said they have like a thin type of cast that is like a fiberglass material that would be allowed to be used and has been used in the NFL before. So you never know.
No.
Before week sounds like a guaranteed, which is
Seems like it, yeah.
Which
right
isn't
now
good.
it does, yeah.
I wanted to see Nick Sirianni answer how his team is going to handle the bye week, because that's one of the questions we got is, what do they do with this 2 weeks off? How much time do the players get to stay away?
We'll take some time away from it, and it's hard to just, we'll take some time away from it as coaches, but I know our guys, and I know they'll be intertwined into, I know I'll get texts from our guys on Saturday during the college football games. I know I'll get texts from them on Sunday. I know I'll get texts from them on Tuesday when MACtion is going on. When you got a group of guys that just wants to continue to get better, they'll take away time with their bodies, but I know they'll be have attention on a lot of the games this week. What do you want to do during the bye, girl? Chick-fil-A.
Yeah. Self-scout. And that's what the coaching staff's supposedly going to do, too. I think this team desperately needs some self-scouting on down and distance, things like that, and approaches, because when it's scripted, it's a thing of beauty. But when it's not scripted, when it's on the fly under pressure, this offense there's odd decisions being made and strange calls. And I think that's him.
Yeah, the diversity is a little different. The diversity hasn't been there as much, I don't think. I mean, think about last year if we're going to compare offense. The offense is kind of fine.
Right.
But, we don't see the hurry-up offense like we used to last year as much, like in the middle of a game. Just
They used
different.
it early yesterday, didn't they? At
Just
one point?
kind of, yeah, some, like
a little
just
bit.
variations that they had more so last year. But, as you said, the numbers are great. I mean, second in yards, second in passing, second in rushing, whatever.
Points scored.
Yeah, all those things are really, really good. And like I said earlier, maybe, just maybe, that they knew they had to score points this year because the front office didn't address and, thinking out, they didn't address the linebacker and the safety play for this team.
Hey, Brian in Dallas joins us. Brian, how quiet is it in Big D today?
Yeah, it's real quiet, but I know you guys don't give me much time. I answered that in the back end, but I want to answer more important things, right? Great win, obviously, happy about that. But, you guys, we have been talking for weeks, and you guys brought up again today, just the problems with our coordinators. That's our weakness, and I get it. We win. I love it. We're all loving it's winning, but my issue basically on both sides of the ball is just this. We have a lot of talent on our team that can make up for the ineptness on both sides of the ball, and we've been doing that. Because in my opinion, there are two coaches in the NFL right now that can outcoach us with no problems, and we have to face both of them. That's Reed and Shanahan. All right? They have the skills and expertise and the creativity to throw Brian Johnson off on offense and to throw Sean Desai off on defense. And that's one of my biggest concerns because the teams we're beating, again, I'll take the win, obviously, right? But those are not the guys we're going to see in the fall, lighting them deep into the playoffs.
Well, what if I told you that? What if I told you that San Francisco may be sort of sunk this weekend? They have to go to Jacksonville. They could lose their fourth in a row.
Yeah, they could. And I'm just talking just overall. Like, and we're talking about the way our team is built, not just this year, next year, and the following year, right? These are the guys we're going to have to face. You know what I mean?
I got you.
And you guys have you hit it down on their head, right? Brian Johnson is just. I don't even need to address. I mean, Nick. I'm just telling Nick Sirianni, just a coach out there. You have established yourself as a great coach in NFL. We can get some experience. You know, Sean Desai, I was upset. You know, problem because I've been watching the Cowboys for a while. Can't stand them, but I watch it. Everybody knows Dak is a blitz controlled, short passing guy, right? So when you got 3rd and 15 and 3rd and 20, why are you pulling your guys back?
Yeah, and they played. Brian, they played so soft yesterday with that, so soft, and that soft coverage, Bob, was what last year everybody was losing their minds about with Gannon, and they're doing it, and they're doing it again. And by the way, every statistical category they're worse than they were last year, and it's horrendously worse. 29th in pass defense. God, this town hated Gannon when they were 10th, and was pissed about it. Now they're 29th. How you like them now? I mean, this is bad right now. And it's got to change. It's got to change.
Yeah, I don't know what changes schematically. I don't know. We've seen Sean Desai have good games, like we talked about. Basically, the only 2 bad games he had were both Washington games. Every other game, it was okay. The defense was pretty okay that we were satisfied with.
Satisfied's a good word.
Yeah. Now, our team's going to follow Washington and now what Dallas did, and just kill that middle of the field against linebackers and safeties and get the coverage that they want and just continually go there. Sean Desai has to come up with with some kind of a better routine. And you know, the scary part is when he tried something different, as I alluded to earlier, you're talking about Eli Ricks and Sidney Brown. You're talking about 2 young players. Is that the best change that you have?
I don't know. Hey, Dave in Ben Salem joins us. Dave, good morning. You're on The Fanatic.
Hey, guys. How are you? John,
good, Davey.
Bob,
what's up, buddy?
I'm doing good. I'm happy about the win, but, of course, I got concerns. Obviously, Goddard's going to be a major loss, but I know he was hurt last year, and we were able to overcome it. Hopefully we can do it this year. Quick question for you guys. We know the trading deadline is over. What do? They just look for a tight end on the waiver wire and see if they can bring somebody in?
The problem is they're 32nd in the waiver wire. So, like,
exactly.
let's say Gannon got rid of Ertz, which a lot of people are talking about because they're trying to get the number 1 pick in the draft.
Oh, that'd be great. I'd love to see him back here. That would be amazing.
But 31 teams have the opportunity to pick him before the Eagles.
Of course.
And somebody may do it.
He's on IR also.
Yeah, and I mean he's supposed to be coming off. He's supposed to be coming off
on IR.
In 2 weeks. Coming off though. I think he comes off faster. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's just there's a lot of questions right now, Dave, about what they do.
Without a doubt. And you look at the schedule, John, ahead. Obviously, the last 5 games are 3 division games. You got to keep your head above water after this bye. See what happens. You got, obviously, Buffalo and San Fran here. But then you got 3 division games at the end of the year, which are going to probably end up being must-wins right now.
Yeah, I mean,
to get their playoff positioning.
You end with Giants, Cardinals, Giants. 2 of them at home.
Yes,
I feel really good.
I think will help.
I feel really good about that end of the slate there.
Without a doubt, man.
All right,
so
buddy.
I love you guys. Let's go Eagles. Let's go Sixers. They're off to a great start. Let's keep winning, and let's get the Flyers back in there eventually.
Yeah, they'll get there.
I'll talk to you guys soon.
Thank you, buddy.
Thanks, Dave.
All right, I love you guys.
Thank you,
Have a
Dave.
great day.
We had a great Saturday with the Flyers and then a bad Sunday. So it's like it was or a great Friday and a bad Saturday, Pat. So, I mean, and that's what you're going to get with this team.
Yeah, it's going to be up and down.
They played great Friday night.
Yeah, they're gonna show flashes, and then they're going to come back down to earth.
Right, and that's what you just got to. It's a more entertaining brand of hockey that they're playing right now.
Yeah,
because I'd rather see young people.
It's a new regime.
I'd rather see young people playing. I just would rather see the young talent and see what they can do.
Yeah, Carter Hart injuries. That's a little frustrating, but you're right. You get to see now. You put them in a spot. Like, all right, we don't have our number 1 goalie. How are you going to play? you got to pick it up even more. So, yeah, they're interesting to watch. I do like watching them.
Nick Sirianni talked about improving, and it's something that even when you're 8-1, you've got to constantly improve. Listen to him.
There's always room for improvement, and we'll continue to work on things, the details, the ball security, the ability to take the football away. You know, that's something we're going to continue to work on. What Bill Parcells say, you are what your record says you are. So we're in a good spot right now, and we're going to enjoy this bye week at 8-1, and we're going to get ready for the Kansas City Chiefs, who obviously is a great football team, and just continue to try to bust our butts to get better each day.
I had one of the greatest pleasures of my life was getting to interview Bill Parcells and talk football with him in my days at ESPN Radio. And he always said that, Bob, and he was adamant about it. He said the only people who care about these style points and everything are you people behind microphones. All at the end of the year, they ask you how many, not how. They don't care how. They care how many. And if you're playing your best ball in December, it doesn't give a damn what you played in September and October. And he was adamant about that. He goes, I don't care. I just care about the one-loss record. It's all that matters. That was his whole mantra, but be playing well in December. And he also, too, was have a team that's built for December.
Yeah, I think the city does look at the record first. I think the 8-1 is right there in front of their face. Everybody's faces and all. But you have a good line. You have to be playing your best in December. Okay, they haven't played their best yet.
No, they haven't.
Or have they?
No.
You know that.
Have they? I
Really?
hope not. I hope not. Because if it's not, you're not going to Vegas.
Yeah.
If this is
so what does 8-1 mean? I mean, there's so many different ways to look at this thing, and you know, either look at it in a good way of it's 8-1, and they haven't played their best football yet, or they're 8-1. Is this who they are?
Jalen wanted to talk about afterwards the mistakes and addressing those mistakes.
You know, you have times in the game where you're a repeat offender, or throughout the season where you're a repeat offender of a mistake that you've had prior to. And I feel like for us, our offense in the end of the game, we were a repeat offender where we had an opportunity in the last game last week to put the game away, and we did not. And we put our defense back on the field. That's not what you want to do. And we did that kind of today, too, as well. So those are opportunities for us to grow, and we need to learn from that. But I think for our defense, and being in the situations that they've been in, and I rarely ever talk about that. Obviously, we all have a role, and we all challenge ourselves to be better at our roles and in our jobs. But you look at the defense and the situations that they've been in throughout the season and how they showed up today in this moment, whether it was a DPI, a holding, or whatever, they found a way to respond.
I think that's very candid of him, but I don't really know what he said. Yeah,
I said to Pat earlier today, I said if this team wasn't winning and Jalen Hurts spoke the way he spoke, this fan base would, I don't want to say hate him, would be so frustrated with the way he speaks. But because he's winning, it's fine, and it's boring, and we all know it's boring and all that stuff. And I would hate it as a reporter.
I'd hate it as a reporter, but I don't mind it.
Trying to grasp something out of it is, you know, you've heard it all before. It's not going to change. But, if Jalen Hurts was playing poorly, I don't think this fan base would really like what he has to say behind the microphone.
He'd be like, come on, tell us what's really going on here.
Yeah.
I do admire, though, that there is a humble quality of Jalen that is overwhelming. And there have been a lot of quarterbacks, Bob, that we've seen over the years that aren't exactly humble in the way they approach things. He always talks about what he needs to get better at first before anybody else has a chance to address it, which I think is good.
Yeah. Yeah, you know, there's no complaints on Jalen Hurts on my part.
No.
You know, there just isn't. And, you know, there's easy backing to it. The 25-2 over 27 games, all of that stuff. It might not look great, but he wins games. He's a winner. And
all he does is win.
That's it, and that's okay.
No matter what, Pat. That's all he does is win, win, win.
Yeah, that's all that matters.
Hey, Jimmy in Southwest Philly joins us. Jimmy, good morning. You're on The Fanatic.
Good morning, everybody. How are you, Mr. Kincade?
Doing well, Jimmy. You sound very enthusiastic this morning. I love it.
So I'm just, you know, like Cooney said, I'm looking at the 8-1 record, right? But just a few points that during that one series, Rick's looked horrible. They're picking on Blankenship. But the reason why I called, gentlemen, yesterday,
yes,
I'm an average Joe, and I'm sitting on my couch, and I got flashbacks of 2 weeks ago. 3rd and 3.
Oh, geez.
You have an opportunity to put the game away. That play call, that ball he threw to A.J. Brown, you should not be able to be an average Joe sitting on your couch and out-coach an NFL coach. Like, Nick Sirianni at the end of the game during his press conference with his daughter, that stuff's cute, and he's laughing and all.
I don't think daughters should be on the press conference
right,
myself.
but the thing is, he should be upset with himself because he put his team in a terrible position. Like, and you tweeted it out last night. This is going to catch up with them. Like,
at some point, it does.
I mean, it's just I don't, and I think I thought about it this morning, and I think it's a little bit of they still don't know their identity. They still don't know that they can run the ball down a team's throat. It's either they don't trust themselves, it's either they get semi-aggressive and cocky at the wrong time, but that last 6 minutes of the game was all self-inflicted. Want to hear your response on it, and take care, gentlemen.
Thank you, buddy. I mean, it was self-inflicted. Is, again, and Bob, again, and just not trying to just vehemently disagree, but whether it's 5 minutes to go, 4 minutes to go, 3 minutes to go, you call a running play, you take 40 seconds off the clock. You shorten the game. The last possession for Dallas should never have happened. It never should have happened. And just one run call on a 3rd and 3, which, by the way, if you've been watching the Eagles all year long, they usually get a 1 yard, 2 yards. Yesterday, it seemed like they had a lot of 2-yard gains. That makes it 4th and 1. You push, and you keep the ball.
Yeah, if the game was that simple, you're absolutely right.
But you don't throw the ball on 3rd and 3 at that point.
I didn't love the call. I think we also didn't love it because of the style of the play. Had it been a crossing pattern to A.J. Brown or something like that, I don't think we have this vitriol for the play as much as we did. Man, they tried a 25-yard down the sideline ball that was 3 yards out of bounds. Like that, it was an ugly play. Yeah, my only point being, like, at the time I was like, that's a bad play. 40 seconds with 5 minutes to go, and the other team has 3 timeouts still. I'm not as upset about it as everybody else. Some people say, look, that's their best play. A.J. Brown, Jalen Hurts to A.J. Brown. It's been their best play all season. Yeah, I didn't like the design of the play. I didn't love the play. I didn't take it as egregious. Yeah.
As we did.
Yeah.
All right, Dante in the Northeast. Dante, put your hand on the Bible, baby. You're on the jury. Let's go.
Good morning, guys. How you feeling?
Hey, Dante. Doing all right, buddy.
So I feel very blah after the game. I had to take some of my dad's heart medication.
Oh, no.
I was on pace for a cardiac arrest. You can just call my wife and ask her if you like. You guys know how I feel about Brian Johnson. And this game was an up-and-down roller coaster game to me. You know, the first quarter started off hot. I liked it. I think it was the first drive of the game. It was their first possession. They went down and scored. Second quarter, they couldn't really get much going. Third quarter, Brian Johnson, whatever he was calling, they just steamrolled that third quarter, and the fourth quarter came. And the heart medication came out. And all of the screaming and all of the yelling and all of the ups and downs. And, I mean, the fourth quarter when it came, it looked like you had them dead to right. You're up 2 touchdowns. You're up double digits. And then you only get the ball for 3 minutes after late in the game. You only get you get those 3 possessions and you're 3 and out.
No ball control at all. It was poor. It was poor yesterday. Poor execution, or poor planning. Could be one of the two.
The numbers that I gave you in the fourth quarter: time of possession, Dallas 11 minutes and 18 seconds, and had 14 first downs.
That can't be real.
Eagles 3 minutes and 42 seconds, 0 first downs in the fourth quarter, 0.
Pat, I got a number for you here. A couple numbers. Jalen Hurts last 2 games, 566 total yards, 7 touchdowns, no turnovers. And he's 25-2 in his last 27 starts. Did you ever think we would have an Eagles quarterback who was 25-2 in 27 starts.
No.
I didn't think you'd have an Eagles team, period. Like,
That's
quarterback,
incredible.
whatever. It is. It's unbelievable how winning is so customary with this team.
The Eagles, by the way, are the since the first week of the 2022 season, have never not been best record in the NFL or tied for best record in the NFL. That's incredible.
Yeah.
I mean, when you think about it that way. But we got a lot going on. They're second in scoring. They're 19th in points allowed. Does that matter? I got a number about the pass defense and why it has to improve coming up. Plus, plenty of your calls. We got a lot of people on the lines here wanting to share their thoughts. Because if the Eagles are bad or a problem, who's better? John Kincade Show on 97.5, The Fanatic. I love Landis and Block and Concrete. They are better. Landis.
And the best Eagles talk in Philadelphia. 97.5 The Fanatic. Now, back to the John Kincade Show on 97.5 The Fanatic, Philadelphia.
John Kincade Show on 97.5 The Fanatic, our 9 o'clock hour. Brought to you by the Bagster. It's a dumpster in a bag, if you didn't know. You can get yours today at Home Depot and Lowe's, and for details, go to Bagster.com. An incredible Eagles victory yesterday. One of the strangest games. It's one of the strangest games I've seen in forever for this Eagles team. A good win, a huge win. That was really just so weird. And I was, and again, I'm souped up on the steroids, but I was cursing up a storm. I was very unhappy with what
All right, so let's do it, the three of us, and I'll go last. What were the first words, honestly, or thought or whatever? Not too long, just your first thought when the final whistle blew.
Thank God. Oh,
okay,
I'm sorry.
go ahead. No,
Thank
go ahead,
God.
John.
Thank God.
Okay.
That's exactly what I said. Thank God Almighty.
Pat, what about you? Do you remember?
Probably similar to that, yeah. More like relief.
Yeah.
But when they got the penalty to back them up even further, I was pretty confident that, at that point, all right, we're good.
You even tweeted it.
Yeah, I tweeted a little, some would say prematurely. But,
little premature?
But I ended up being right. So
you were right.
You got that. Yeah, I looked at my wife and I said, we all thought it was going to be close.
Yes.
You know, it could be a beautiful close game. You know, it could have been 35-30 and everything. Oh, great. Or it could be ugly. And my job as a really good team, and I'm playing another really good team, is to make them look bad.
That's what I expected, though, Bob, is that I picked 31-24 Eagles. I expected it to be a well-played game. That game was not well played by either team. I don't believe that game was well played.
No, and you know, we've all followed and been a part of sports all our lives, and sometimes when you play a good team and you're a good team, you'll watch it and just say, man, some of this stuff I don't recognize. And it's because the other team is good, and they're making you not able to do what makes you good. So ugliness between two good teams, that's going to happen.
It happens.
And, yeah, the biggest thing out of it, like I asked a buddy of mine who was at the game, give me a synopsis of last night's game. And he put three things down. 8-1.
That's it.
That's it. I mean, that's it. That's the headline. And it's a good headline.
And I think, again, if you're going to bitch and complain about 8-1, there are things you can absolutely, legitimately say this team needs to do better. But they're doing it better than everybody in the NFL, and it really isn't close. It doesn't appear to be close. Dallas, I thought, was going to be a stiffer challenge than they were yesterday. I really did. I thought the Dallas defense would play better. I really did. The Eagles, when they wanted to do thing, it was all over the place.
Yeah, I thought it was going to be a higher. What did I say? 30-27, I think.
I think you said something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't think it was going to be as ugly as it was.
No.
But does Dallas look at it and say, "Damn, we played well, but we lost"? Are they? What is? I wonder what a Dallas fan is thinking now. Like, okay, yeah, we're the, like, what? Who is it? Bayless? Is that the guy?
Skip Bayless.
Yeah. So he goes on Twitter and is like, "Yeah, Dallas is the better team." Wow, that's who would you rather be? Would you say, "Oh, we played better and we're the better team"? Yeah, we lost that game, but we'll beat them when they come to Dallas, and they probably will. But you know, it's the yin and the yang of sports. People in Dallas may be happy with their performance last night and pissed they lost the game, whereas Philadelphia is happy that they won the game but pissed at the performance.
I think if we lose that game, Pat, in Dallas in a couple weeks, and we play like the Cowboys did, and we have a bunch of opportunities and we just don't cash in, I don't think anybody here is going to be real pissed about it.
Oh, I disagree.
Really?
Yeah, if you play the way Dallas did, and then you get a bunch of penalties late in the game that puts you in a position to win it. They were on the 11-yard line at one point.
They were on the 6.
That's right. Yeah, they were. Yeah, and then it's sack and penalty.
Delay of game.
Yeah, it's. I mean, they choked when it mattered the absolute most. And I think if the roles are reversed, Eagles are on the road in Dallas, and you're on the 6-yard line with a chance to win the game, and that happens. Yeah, we're absolutely coming in pissed off because we're looking at it like missed opportunity. And at that point, it's the division. I mean, I think the division's wrapped up anyway, just like you do.
I do
but
too, yeah.
but I mean, that's the death nail. And yeah, I think we're absolutely pissed off if that happens.
I look at the gauntlet that everybody talked about. And look, the Chiefs is going to be a wild game in 2 weeks on Monday Night Football. We're going to have a blast with that one. That's going to be awesome. But the Chiefs don't look as good as they've looked in any of their previous 3 years. The Bills aren't even a playoff team this morning. You get them at home. The 49ers, they play at Jacksonville this week. They lose their fourth in a row. You don't have to worry about the 49ers coming and stealing home field away from you or anything like that. I think the gauntlet really doesn't look as big of a gauntlet as it did before.
So this was week 1 of the 6-week gauntlet that you speak of, right? Here's a good feeling. If you end up going out there and losing the next 5 games, 5,
right,
which should be absolute, I mean,
impossible
death nail of a season right there for most teams. And I'm talking Chiefs, Bills, 49ers, Cowboys, Seahawks, all playoff teams. You lose to all of those, you're still probably going 11-6.
Yeah, go 11-6.
Yeah, because then you've got Giants twice and Cardinals. So at worst, the Eagles will put themselves in a position to, at worst, be a playoff team. Obviously, we have bigger aspirations than that, but you figure they're not going to lose 5 in a row.
No.
They might lose 2 or 3 in there, but they're not losing 5 in a row, and I'd be shocked if they lost 3.
I'll be shocked if they lose to the Bills or 49ers at home.
Yeah, I would be too.
Yeah.
And so if they win if you lose at the Chiefs and at the Cowboys, and then you win your 2 home games against the Bills and 49ers, you're sitting there in a couple weeks, you're 10-3, and you're loving life heading into your final 4 games. Giants twice and Cardinals. And the Giants, Daniel Jones, hate to see him injured, but now they're going to try to position themselves to get a quarterback in that draft. And right now, I don't know what it's going to be, but we'll see how that works out. Saad joins us in South Philly. Saad, what's going on, brother?
Hey, what's going on? How you feeling, man?
We're feeling good. We're 8-1. We're feeling pretty good, I think.
That's what I'm talking about, man. That's what I'm saying, man. We beat the Cowboys, man, and people act like we just beat any old body. Ain't no day for criticism. The day is criticism off day because we just beat the freaking Cowgirls. You know what I'm saying?
No, I love beating the Cowboys, but I don't believe the Cowboys are saw. I don't believe the Cowboys are standing between them and winning a Super Bowl.
No. What I'm saying is, anytime we beat the Cowgirls, it's like a parade for that one day. You know what I'm saying?
I love it.
Then we could criticize them tomorrow.
Okay. I get you. I get you. So have a parade today. I don't think the Cowboys are worthy of our parade anymore.
No, I don't think the Eagles are worthy of a parade right now. I mean, 8-1 is great. It's unfinished business. It's not,
long way to go.
I love how Sal's celebrating, because if you look down there yesterday and how amped up fans were yesterday and all of that stuff, you wanted to win, and you got it. There's a lot in between. You wanted to win and you got it. There's a whole lot of stuff in between the two to talk about and dissect and all that stuff, and that's what we do all week long. I think Sa is probably in the minority saying, "Oh, screw it. This is great. You beat the Cowboys." Yeah, that's that, and that is great. And
we
8-1
have bigger
is
goals
great.
than that.
But there's more stuff to it than that. Yeah,
I I hope that Haley is able to get that video of you doing that was great. I like that. It looked like like you're juggling the balls.
I can
like
juggle.
A clown. You can juggle?
Yeah.
I didn't
You
know
can't
that
juggle?
about you. No, I cannot.
Yeah, I can juggle.
I cannot. I can maybe get it to carry once and then boom, falls apart.
2 with 1, 3 with 2.
Look at you. Sure. Look at you.
I'm an
Look at the
athlete.
big brain on Bob. Hey, let's see what Sam in Cherry Hill has to say. Sam, good morning. You're on the Fanatic.
Hey, morning, fellas. How y'all doing?
What's up,
Good,
Sam?
Sammy?
Hey, man. So, I mean, as usual, on a Monday after a win, we're always happy to get a win. But watching that game yesterday, man, Blankenship, I really don't see how he was just, given this starting role at safety. He's been getting torched the last couple of weeks. And I'm watching, and I played safety in high school and even in a Division III college, but he's out of place a lot. Or he's just not, something's up with him.
I see bad angles, Sam. Do you see that also? I see a safety supposed to being behind a corner when he's back in deep coverage, and I see him underneath an awful lot.
Yeah, not only that, I'm looking at he's always on the wrong side of the hash marks on his side of the field to where that's why he's getting caught where he's got to chase so far because it's looked like he's lining up like a yard, like a half a yard or a yard too much inside most of the time.
Well, when he's got run responsibility and potential, got to read it to see if he's got pass responsibility, that's a problem. And they showed it a few times yesterday. But that's a young player. And, Pat, I'm not ready to write off Blankenship because I've seen too many glimpses of where I sort of like what I see. So he's one of those guys. I'm willing to be patient with him.
Yeah, and he's a guy that is in his second year. Didn't really play much his first year. Played sparingly. Converted from, I believe, linebacker to safety. So he's a little bit of a work in progress. And I think it's been up and down. I think it's been, good at times, bad at times. But we're talking about Reed Blankenship here. We always joke the Ed Reed Blankenship nickname, but it's not like he is Brian Dawkins or
right.
Michael Lewis or C.J. Gardner-Johnson or some of the really I'm drawing a blank. Jenkins. Like he's a work in progress. He's a young player. He's probably going to get better, and he's learning a new system, by the way, too. So
I'm in on him. I'm in on letting him. In on letting him learn. I don't know that he wouldn't be better. I don't know that it wouldn't be better if in the offseason they did look for somebody to work. If take away some of the snaps.
If you're going to be patient on him, willing to learn. I have a couple of words for him. Learn quicker.
Yes.
Angles are weird. Look, there's a reason. He was undrafted, right, Pat?
Yes.
Yeah. There's a reason he went undrafted. The talent just isn't there of others. He may have a terrific mind game. I equate it to like when I got older playing. Yeah, my body knew where it wanted to be. My mind knew where it wanted to be. My body just didn't allow me to get there. He might know where he's supposed to be, but his body is that level of you're undrafted for a reason isn't allowing him to get there. So I don't know. I don't know if he's the guy or not right now.
All right, let's give a hand to somebody. Let's give a hand to somebody that is associated with the Philadelphia Eagles based on yesterday's effort. Who gets the biggest round of applause yesterday if it's not Jalen Hurts? Because Jalen Hurts is too easy. He's dominating right now. Who is it? Because Hand and Stone Massage and Facial Spa want you to kickstart your holiday shopping with their Black Friday presale. You buy a gift card at guest pricing and get a free promotional gift card. Restrictions do apply. See the spa for details. Who would you give a hand to if it wasn't Jalen Hurts?
I'm giving it to the old man, Brandon Graham.
I love that one. Love that answer.
That's like a closer coming in. Well, it's funny because we talked on the pregame show yesterday that so many times it appears that Hassan Reddick comes up with sacks at closing time. Just big sacks that kind of close out a game. He's the closer. Brandon Graham was the closer yesterday. You needed him to close. He closed it.
He was. Pat,
yeah, that's mine.
Brandon Graham's a great one.
Yeah,
I don't think you're going to be able to outdo him.
No, I'm not. I will go with Jalen Hurts then.
Yeah,
it's
Jalen. Yeah, it's chalk.
Jalen Hurts getting injured again, where it's like a nasty, replay. You go, oh God, I hope he's all right. Comes back out down at halftime, ends up orchestrating a drive to get them back in it and take the lead. I'll go with him.
So kickstart your holiday shopping with their Black Friday presale at Hand and Stone Massage and Facial Spas. We give a hand to some Eagles that maybe didn't get enough credit yesterday in a big win.
Somebody put on here Tyler Steen. We didn't hear a lot about him yesterday. They showed a highlight of him once. I think handing off a block or getting a block handed off to him and doing well on it. I'm anxious to watch it again, to watch the offensive line and Tyler Steen in particular, because there may be concern about this offensive line. Why aren't they running the football well anymore? Or why aren't the coaches wanting to run the ball more? Do they see something? You do have an older offensive line. So with the Steens, the Jurgens, the Dickersons, and the Mailatas, those are the guys that are going to have to get it turned over too. So if Steen can get some time here, I'm all for it.
I would say, well, the big thing too is, remember, he was the hero yesterday. Because when there was a fumble at the end of the game, it was Tyler Steen that was the one that got his hands on it.
That's right.
Thank God, because that was bad. Brian joins us from our jury. Brian, hand on the Bible. You are under oath. What's going on, brother?
I was right with you guys. Jalen Hurts, Brandon Graham are my game balls. I can't believe the hustle from Brandon Graham to help get Dak's toe on that sideline on the
amazing
conversion. Great job. So
what strikes me between this team and this Phillies team we just watched are so many parallels. Like, they're the favorite to win it all. They're likable roster. When it's good, it looks unstoppable, and you're like, wow, we're going all the way. But there are so many pockets of ugly where you go, is this going to come back to bite them at the worst time, between coaching, play calling, the rotation of players, just careless with the football.
That's what I say is that, because I heard it all during baseball season. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. They're winning. They're winning. And then the things that you worried about during the season become the things that send you home.
Well, I mean, you're going to be right on 31 teams of that. You know what I mean? Like, I can hear what you're saying now and say, yeah, John's going to be 99% right because only one team wins it all. So we can always go back to saying, well, the things that were wrong in the regular season came back to bite them in the ass in the playoffs. Only one team comes out of the playoffs.
Thing is, going into the year, is that if you're able to pinpoint the exact reason of point of death, like the Phillies bullpen was an issue. They're going to address it. It's an issue, but they'll address it. They'll go and do those things. The Phillies being undisciplined at the plate never changes. Never is addressed. They supposedly that, Long is the best hitting coach in all the game. And they have one of the worst approaches of any good team in baseball. And it never changes. And everybody's okay with it. It's like, okay, but they're hitting home runs. They're winning, so it doesn't matter. It matters. It's going to come back and bite you in the ass.
Never going to have a perfect team, so
What about? I'm not asking for perfect.
Well, I mean, this Eagles team, if they don't win the Super Bowl this year, what are you going to – I mean, what does everybody say?
Well, it depends on who they lose to.
They never addressed what?
Well, it depends on who they lose to will matter and how they lose, if they lose. I had no problem last year. I didn't come in and rip that. I mean, to me, that Super Bowl was amazing.
We had no problem with the Phillies going to the World Series last year either.
Yeah, this year I did.
Well,
big time
but you're also comparing problems of this year to last year's Phillies team.
That's true.
You know what I mean?
That's
so
the truth.
There's going to be that. I wonder. It's a great point.
But it's
I wonder
2 years in
what
a
you're
row
going
for the Phillies.
And if the Eagles don't win this year, it's going to be 2 years in a row for the Eagles.
Yeah, but it may be different. They may lose because of something else. They may lose. Right now, 29th in passing is unacceptable. Pass defense. And why is it unacceptable? Just the last 6 Super Bowl champions have averaged being 18th in pass defense. Part of that is they all managed to stop the run well, which the Eagles do. But that pass defense needs to stop. 29th is ridiculous. That's so bad.
Yeah,
that's not bottom. That's bottom of the barrel, and I think that's something that can end up screwing you over at some point. Hey, Tim McManus talked on the postgame last night with our own Connor Thomas, and he talked about the panic level potentially around the radical play of Bradbury has been a problem. Let's put it this way. He has not been a successful option recently for the Eagles. And yesterday in the first half, it looked good. What does Tim McManus have to say about Bradbury's play?
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't put panic there. I would say that if you look around the NFL, there's not a whole lot of starting outside corners that are north of 30. Last year, I think the stat was there was only like 2 of them, right? And there's 2 of them are on the Eagles this year. And so you understand the position and, how high of a speed you need to have, and it just doesn't last all that long for outside cornerbacks. That being said, I still feel like Slay and Bradbury, generally speaking, have stuff left in the tank. But it's something to look at. Like, with Bradbury, he was playing at an all-pro level last year, and maybe you expect a little bit regression to that point. So something to keep an eye on, but I don't think anything to panic about just yet.
Not yet.
If there's nothing to panic about, I got to tell you, I think Tim's very measured. I think as a reporter, he's very measured. To me, as a fan, I'm more reactionary. There's reason to be concerned. And again, I thought it all along. I don't know why you'd want to go with the oldest tandem of cornerbacks.
You don't disagree with Tim. You just said it. You're concerned. You didn't say you're
concerned.
panicked.
No.
So
I'm not
Tim said,
yet.
You
can't
shouldn't
panic at 8-1, right?
You can't because
That's
if
ridiculous.
you hadn't seen it before. Like, I know you're giving out the 29th in the league against the pass, but there's also that recent memory of how good they did against the Miami Dolphins. Like, we can't forget that.
And 23 against Dallas is really good.
It's 23 points, sure. And, you bottled up a Miami offense. Look, Miami might not be as good a team as we thought they were coming in, but their offense is. And, you had Tyreek Hill have 11 catches, and you held him to 88 yards. I thought their coaching was phenomenal for that game by Sean Desai. Why that effort? Can't say effort. I don't like questioning effort. Why that consistency hasn't been there the next 2 weeks against the passing game, I don't know, but we know it can be there.
The Miami Paper Tigers showed up again yesterday, though. The 3 best teams they played, they've averaged 17 points a game against.
Yeah, that was weird. Yes, I hate.
You don't like the London game? I mean, the Frankfurt.
No,
Frankfurt.
European. Yeah, I don't like the Germany games, the London games, whatever it may be. I don't think that's why I like the Super Bowl when they play it on a good surface and you let the teams play the way they can play. I think that really disrupts things going over there. And you can be there for a week. I don't care what, you could go Monday after you play on Sunday and not. I don't think teams play well over there. The games don't seem normal to me.
Andy brought him in 2 days before.
Is that what he did?
Friday morning.
Did he really?
Friday morning.
That's a 6-hour time difference, if I'm not mistaken. I think 5 or 6 hour time difference. That ain't easy.
Yeah. Hey, Ricky in New Jersey joins us. Ricky, good morning. You're on The Fanatic.
Good morning, family. How are you? Happy
Doing well,
Monday.
Ricky.
What's up, buddy?
Let me tell you something. I love calling every Monday, and I have an ultimate garage with the TVs, and everybody says, "Oh, I can't wait till you call on Monday about this game." I was in panic mode. Yeah, because they know you guys are great. They know I'm a true fan. We are the model of inconsistency. We were up 7. We were up 20. And I said, you know what?
Oh, you broke
Ricky,
up
call
on
us
us,
back,
Ricky.
buddy.
You broke up on us there. The model of inconsistency sounds a little rough, but I guess I sort of understand it this morning. I understand the feeling. Let's put it that way.
I was thinking of somehow, but I don't think it was about, I don't know. Consistently inconsistent, not my favorite phrase in the world. But with this Eagles team, it's they're not consistently inconsistent, but there's a lot of inconsistencies.
Yes, and I think that's part of it is you go, this team is so talented, but there's times where there just seems, but I think it's a lot of times I put it to youth. I really do. A lot of times I put their issues to youth or
the youth of what?
To age of guys that they're putting in position to go and have to make plays.
Oh, okay.
Whether it's Blankenship or Ricks or one of those or Sidney Brown. I think sometimes it's just they're putting a lot of responsibility in the shoulders of some really young guys who maybe aren't ready for it. It could be. I mean, it could be part of the problem.
Yeah, and is that what these new coordinators have been dealt? You know,
Right.
when you look at a Sean Desai, we can try to gloss over it all we want. You're starting Reed Blankenship. You picked Kevin Byard up hoping
And he
at
has not
31
been an
years
impact
old.
yet.
No, not yet. You have middle linebackers that you still don't know who your starters are. We're 9 games into the season. The Eagles don't know who their starting linebackers are.
Hey, you get a chance to get in with us at 610-632-0975. Look, at 8-1, if you don't think the Eagles are good or they're not playing up to your potential, who are you concerned about? Because they're winning while everybody else is finding a way to lose. Plus, you'll hear from Nick Sirianni. Is this team mentally tough? We'll talk about it next. John Kincade Show, wrapping up on this on Monday, leading you up to Andrew Saltunis at 10 here on 97.5, The Fanatic. I want you to download the BetParks app right now. Well, not this second. If you're driving, please feel free to do it when you get to work. But open up the BetParks app, and you will be in the zone. Did you know that they are the official winning partner of your Philadelphia 76ers? You'll love it. When you go down to the Sixers games, you always find it. It's got all the betting options that you want. So if you want to bet on the Sixers game tonight, you can. If you want to talk about Monday Night Football, you can. If you want to look forward to a bye week where you maybe concentrate more on some of the other games, you're allowed to do that. Plus, the casino floor is open to you. It's just like you're at Parks Casino. Blackjack and roulette and baccarat, ultimate Texas Hold'em. You'll love it. Plus, The latest Hot Slots great offer for new users is there. Get up to $1,000 in casino bonus back if you're down in the first 24 hours. New users only, and the casino bonus must be wagered, and terms and conditions apply. You can see the website at betparks.com for details. You're playing for fun, and you love to win. We love BetParks. You will too. You bet? BetParks. You got to be 21 in Pennsylvania, Jersey, Ohio, or Maryland. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Fanatic Sports Update.
Birds rolled 8-1. I'm Pat Egan, and this sports update is brought to you by Wendy's with Wendy's new breakfast, 2 for $3 Biggie bundles. You can choose the pair you want, limited time only during breakfast hours. U.S. price and participation may vary, not valid in a combo. Single item at regular price. The Eagles are 8-1 after defeating the Cowboys 28-23. With just 5 seconds left in the game and the Cowboys sitting on the Birds' 22-yard line, the Eagles defense stood tall, not allowing the game-winning score. The Eagles will now enter the bye week with the best record in the NFL and a 3-game lead up on the second-place Cowboys for the NFC East crown. While the team won, there was a big loss. Tight end Dallas Goedert has a fracture in his forearm and is waiting to find out how much time he will miss, or it is 4 weeks. Jalen Hurts is also battling a knee injury. Earlier today, Andrew Checo from Inside the Birds broke down how the bye week is coming at the perfect time.
The Eagles improved to 8-1, and the bye week comes at a great time. They obviously have some key injuries with Jalen Hurts with the knee, Dallas Goedert with the forearm injury, and Nakobe Dean with the foot, and they should be getting Bradley Roby back after the bye.
That full interview is available now on 97.5thefanatic.com. Sixers back in action tonight to take on the Wizards. Team is currently riding a 4-game winning streak as they look to push it to 5. Tip-off tonight is set for 7 p.m. You can hear the game right here on 97.5 The Fanatic. Congratulations are in order to Phillies pitcher Zach Wheeler. Wheeler was announced as the NL's Gold Glove recipient for pitching. It's his first time he's won the award. I'm Pat Egan on the home of the Sixers, Flyers, and Union, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Win a free trip or 2 to Spring Training 2024. The Titans will be back, and it all starts in Clearwater. Listen weekdays at 8 a.m., noon, and 4 p.m. for your chance to win a $25 Rally House gift card and qualify for a 3-day getaway to spring training in March, courtesy of Philly Sports Trips. The trip includes airfare, a stay at the beautiful AC Hotel in Clearwater Beach, a VIP party, and game tickets. For complete details and another chance to win, go to 975thefanatic.com. Win a trip to spring training 2024. Weekdays at 8, noon, and 4. Presented by Rally House. Your city, your house. PhillySportsTrips.com. Travel with the pros. And 97.5 The Fanatic.
Diabetes, high blood pressure, anxiety meds, everyone's on them. If you're a 50-year-old male, maybe a bit porky, and you may even have type 2 diabetes, $1 million of term insurance may only cost you about $200 a month. Call Term Provider. Speak with Big Lou at 800-555-1509. Big Lou will find a term life policy for you even if you have type 2 diabetes, are overweight, or have high blood pressure. Term Provider has helped thousands of people like you who think they can't afford term life insurance. To buy $1 million of affordable term life for you, all you need to do is call Big Lou at 800-555-1509. Lou will make sure the scales are tipped in your favor. Call 800-555-1509. Big Lou will answer your call and work to fit you into a term life policy that you can afford. Remember, Big Lou's like you. He's on meds too. Call 800-555-1509. 800-555-1509 or biglou.com.
Attention all homeowners. Do you know when to replace your windows? Feeling too hot or cold? It's time to replace. Fog between the glass? Time to replace. Spending too much on expensive energy that literally goes out the window? It's definitely time to replace. If you've put off replacing windows in your home because it's too expensive, here's great news. You can now get a free in-home window consultation and free price quote from Renewal by Andersen, the company with the most 5-star reviews among leading full-service window replacement companies. And right now, you can save $359 off every window and $887 off every door. Just call 800-518-8447 for your free consultation on top-quality affordable windows or patio doors for $0 down, 0 payments, and 0 interest for a year. That's right, you don't pay a dime for an entire year. Plus, save $359 off every window and $887 off every door. But hurry, these big dollar savings end this month. Call 800-518-8447 right now. Don't wait. Call 800-518-8447. 800-518-8447.
Shop Black Friday every day at Lowe's and get the best new deals all month. Right now, shop the lowest prices of the year on select major appliances and save an extra $100 for every $800 you spend on select major appliances. Plus, bring home a Little Giant 14.3-foot multi-position ladder. Was $169, now $99. Because Lowe's knows deals. Valid to 11/8. Appliance savings vary based on purchase amount. Exclusions apply while supplies last. Selection varies by location. See Lowe's.com for details.
With the holidays upon us, the increase in traveling, shopping, and connecting online also heightens the need to protect your identity and finances with LifeLock. Identity thieves see this time of year as an opportunity to drain your accounts, open new loans in your name, and damage your financial future. LifeLock detects and alerts you to the threats you might miss on your own. Don't let the busy holiday season catch you off guard. Save up to 25% off your first year with promo code CLAY. LifeLock.com, promo code CLAY.
Let's head out. The theater's about to close.
Wait, what does that sign say?
Warning, watch your step?
No, next to it.
If you are 60 or older, you may be at increased risk of serious consequences from RSV, respiratory syncytial virus, compared to adults younger than 60. I didn't know that.
Not all dangers come with warning labels. Talk to your pharmacist or doctor about getting vaccinated against RSV today. RSV vaccines, including Pfizer's, are available. Learn more at bewareofrsv.com. Brought to you by Pfizer.
Save on stuff you really need and stuff you bought for fun. Stuff you've always really wanted this holiday at Amazon. Stuff that is discounted if you're naughty or you're nice. Stuff to buy your grandma who drinks her Chardonnay with ice. Stuff to make you big and strong. Stuff we can't name in this song. Stuff for lawns and decking halls. Save big on stuff at Amazon. Stuff.
In these parts, when it comes to winter, it's not if it snows, but when. The only question is how much do you want to deal with it? How much do you want your back to hurt? How much do you want to get a new Aaron snow thrower during the Snowvember sales event? We're celebrating impending snowfalls with up to $150 off select models of America's best-built, best-selling snow throwers, as well as free extended warranty. But hurry, the Snowvember sales event is only for a limited time and only at your local Aaron's dealer. Aaron's.
Wait, was he tackled or did he slip and fall?
Looks like the coaches are demanding a replay.
Too bad they can't demand Rand.
What?
You know, Rand and Mike Spear, the accident lawyers. They are personal injury specialists, and they have the best 1-2 punch in the game. They won over $750 million for their clients.
If you want to win, don't settle for the second string. Call 1-800-90-LEGAL and demand Rand. Or start your claim online now at randspear.com. 1-800-90-LEGAL.
eBay Motors is here for the ride. So minivans, sedans, JDMs, roll out. Go ahead, feel your engine. Admire that perfectly installed exhaust. Your vehicle's moving along this freeway like it was made from fresh installs and a whole lot of love. And with eBay Motors, you get over 122 million parts to keep it running. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, they'll be the perfect fit every time. Plus, at these prices, well, we're burning rubber, not cash. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
This holiday, the Home Depot is helping you get gifts that keep on giving by making sure they keep on going. Right now, when you buy a select battery kit from Ryobi, Milwaukee, Rigid, DeWalt, or Makita, you get an eligible tool for free. Just pick a brand, pick a battery kit, and get a tool free. Give the gift of more doing this holiday with the Home Depot. How doers get more done. Valid at participating stores and online. One per transaction. Discount taken at checkout. Full eligible tool list in store and online. Valid October 23rd, 2023 through January 28th, 2024.
Sixers fans, let's go hang out together this Friday night in Pottstown. I'm going to be at Big Phil's Bar and Grill, and it's all thanks to our friends at Corona. We're going to be having a little bit of a Sixers watch party, and it's Corona, it's the Fanatic, it's me, hopefully it's you, at Big Phil's Bar and Grill in Pottstown this Friday night. That's November 10th. It all starts at 7 p.m. because that's when tip-off is, and the Sixers, they're taking on a game that I'm pretty sure they can beat. They're taking on the Pistons, and we'll be giving away great prizes. So we have a bunch of Corona swag, but we also have a pair of tickets to an upcoming Sixers game. So stop on by Big Phil's Bar and Grill. That's, by the way, 351 West Schuylkill Road in Pottstown this Friday, 7 p.m. for our Sixers pregame party. and your chance to score some Sixers tickets. It's all thanks to Corona. That's the official partner of the 76ers, the Philly Cerveza. And for details, just go to the events page on 975thefanatic.com. Once again, Sixers party this Friday in Pottstown. It's me, it's you, it's Corona, and you'll get your chance to win a pair of tickets to an upcoming Sixers game. That's Big Phil's Bar and Grill this Friday. It all starts at 7 p.m.
Now, back to the John Kincade Show on 97.5 The Fanatic, Philadelphia.
Hello. Hello. John Kincade Show on The Fanatic. Does it, Pat, did you find less trick-or-treaters this year at your house?
I was taking around Jack, so probably the wrong person to ask.
Okay.
But I would say it's probably about the same amount we had last year.
Bobby, you?
Yeah, I think we were about the same.
Because I see Mary Beth bringing in the full-size candy bars. What a sweetheart she is.
The sweetest of hearts.
She is just a darling. Another proud Temple product around these halls. And I'm thinking, and it seemed like Ray was like, no kids came by. Like we didn't have the same type of thing either. As far as just, I think these trunk or treats, these school things they do are very good ideas.
Yeah.
They're great ideas, but I think they keep kids from going door to door and doing in the same levels. At least in our area they did. And they have the school has one and the church has one and the trunk or treats. These kids make out pretty good.
Yeah.
I feel like
candy.
Cul-de-sacs kill trick-or-treating door to door. Because the cul-de-sac, it's like you go to the cul-de-sac, you walk around, and then the next house is a bit of a walk, usually.
Right.
I'm talking like after you get out of that cul-de-sac, like you have to usually drive to someplace to get to the next cul-de-sac. So I feel like in your area where there are a bunch of cul-de-sacs, it might be a big trunk or treat area. For me, like I live in Rohome area,
Right.
so
It's easy to go bang, bang, bang.
yeah,
bang.
we hit up multiple blocks, and we were set. So it's I think it's just different areas for sure. It depends on how many trick or treaters you get.
Joe, your buddy Joe, who you play hockey with?
Yeah.
If I took a picture of his house and his block, these people do up Halloween like it's like you're going to Universal Studios. I mean, the house is decorated to the nines, giant blow-up things in the yard. They did a special like Halloween party on Saturday. They do it up.
They go all out. Huh?
Oh, yeah, they do it really up.
That's impressive.
I mean, very, very
Yeah,
impressive.
the people that love Halloween, man, they usually
Oh, my gosh.
love Halloween.
I do not. I'm not a...
My dad's like that.
You don't what?
I'm not as big a Halloween person.
I love Halloween. You know, it was cool. Chunas the other day on his show was talking about his best times of Halloween, and it was when he was in college because, girls dress naughtily and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
But he said he had a really good one this year where Cooper was in bed. He and Christy sat out, built a fire, had a cooler next to him. Well, that's what I did for years. And then when my kids got older, it was you had the wagon, not older, but when I had kids, you have the wagon and you're taking them around, but you also have the cooler with you.
Oh, yeah,
and you're
yeah.
stopping over at different people's houses, and there's wine and there's cheese and there's, oh, man, it was, I loved when the kids were little. Halloween when they were young was awesome.
We're happy yesterday, too, because our neighbors came back from San Diego after like 5 months. Pat and Frank are back. Nikki Foles was really happy to see Mr. Frank.
Yeah?
So it was good to have our neighbors back, too, yesterday, which is awesome. Nick Sirianni wanted to talk about the toughness because it was being addressed as how does this team continually not find ways to lose and finds ways to win? Listen to this.
When you're truly in that mindset and you're willing to get better each day, no matter how you feel, that's got to be the mindset. I'm tired today. Oh, we're 8-1 today. Oh, we're 2-8 today. Whatever the heck it is, you have to be in a mind. It's a mental challenge, and you have to be mentally tough to say, I'm gonna get better today, and I'm gonna treat today the same way I treated the other day, regardless of how I feel today. And so that's our mission, and that's our goal. And our goal, I know there are going to be a lot of chatter about this and that. Now they got this lead and they have the best record in NFC. We don't care about any of that. All we care about is how we get better to win our next game.
Here's why I apologize for me being wrong. I thought a lot of that talk and a lot of that messaging to me was Nick Sirianni being like Ted Lasso. Was a bunch of bumper stickers. And I had seen a couple coaches in my career that I had interacted with on a personal basis who I thought were all bumper stickers. Dan Quinn, the defensive coordinator of the Cowboys, who's a really good defensive coordinator. As a head coach, we used to call him Coach Bro because he was like all about bumper stickers and slogans and everything like that. I judged Nick Sirianni that way. I think I was completely wrong because I think this is who he really is. I think it's who he really is. I think he lives what he preaches. I think he lives it, and I think his team buys into it. And he's a young, unproven coach when he came in here, and he got the veterans to all buy in. And so, Bob, I mean, I'll raise my hand and say I was wrong on that part of Sirianni. I thought a lot of it was shtick. And it wasn't shtick.
Yeah, he talks about his mission, and it's great. And I told you how on board I am with the one step at a time every day. I totally agree there. His mission has been made easier by the fact that he's winning.
Yes.
You know, I mean, that's a hard sell. Look, we just had Nick Stauskas on the other day, former Sixer. You know how hard it is to go to practice when you've lost 18 in a row, 26 in a row? You know, that's hard.
It is.
And you can talk about missions and getting better. That might not even go in one ear before it goes out the other. You know, his mission, as he calls it, he's been, I don't want to say lucky that he has W's there, it's an easier sell, but it is a much, much easier sell when you're winning games.
Hey, Ricky's back with us from New Jersey. Ricky's phone in a better spot. Hi, Rick.
Good morning, gentlemen. Back in my office. Listen, I don't want to be a naysayer.
Please.
And I may be rough, but you know how good we can be if we're more consistent on both sides of the ball. We can actually dominate the NFC and probably the NFL because we have one of the best quarterbacks in the game. We have definitely the best wide receiver in the game.
Maybe wide receiver tandem in the game.
Yes, absolutely. We didn't even use Julio Jones when I thought that was like, oh, my God. If we're in the red zone, we're terrible in the red zone. He's 6'4". We don't even use him. And then defensively, they're back on the field. It's tough, man. It's tough. I love them. We're 8-4. I'm glad we have a bye. I would really like to see, and I'm going to call in 2 weeks, really would love to see what this whole coaching staff, is, including Nick Sirianni, is going to do to change the so scripted in offensively that makes the defense work even harder.
Yeah, and I'll tell you this, though. The scripted, Ricky, thank you. The scripted offense is really freaking awesome. I mean, their scripted offense is fantastic. It's when they get past the scripted plays that they seem to have a problem. And I am of the belief that, and Mark Schlereth sort of talked about it a little bit last week when he joined us, that maybe when you have a new coordinator, the pace of the game is something you have to get used to. You're under pressure. It's under pressure that you've never been under before. And so maybe that's it. Maybe that's it.
Ricky had a line there that raised my eyebrows. He said if they were doing this, they could dominate the NFC and maybe all of the NFL. Aren't they doing that?
They sort of are. I think 14-3 last year and being NFC champions and 2 blowout wins in the postseason at home.
Yeah.
And I have no reason to believe that anybody's coming in here and beating them in the postseason at that stadium.
My point being, this is what I love about doing this job and talking to the people that we talk to and talking to each other, the different way we look at things. They were 14-3 regular season last year. They're 8-1 this year. That's 22-4, if I'm not mistaken. I think that's kind of dominating the league, isn't it?
I do. I feel like they're dominating.
Yeah, but at the same time, I totally understand when people come at us with, and we talk about it too, yeah, but. You know, that's legitimate right now.
Sure it is.
And this is the greatest thing about sports. 8-1, people can say, "Oh, I can't stand that they're nitpicking on 8-1." But that's what sports is.
It is. It's about getting better. Because if you didn't nitpick on the Phillies, you miss why they lost.
That's why there's only been 27 perfect games in the history of baseball. You know, stuff like that. Perfection is hardly ever reached. So that's the funness of it, in my book.
All right, I want to hear what Nick Sirianni has to say about one of those shticky type moments, Pat, where he talks about being able to climb the mountain.
There's this huge mountain to climb, but you can't climb the mountain all in 1 week. And when you look up that mountain and you start to just look up at how much more you got to climb, that's what makes you slip when you do that. And so your steps have to be, your head has to be down, your focus has to be on the mountain, your focus has to be on your next step, and that'll be our next practice. And this week, take rest in our bodies.
Rest the bodies. So spend a little time in the next few days wrapping up the Dallas game, putting a big bow on it, and then get away from it, get healthy, get rested, and then get back for the challenge. By the way, 2 weeks from tonight, you realize it's Eagles-Chiefs, Monday Night Football, Andy Reid off a bye, Nick Sirianni off a bye. This is a coaching chess match.
Chiefs have a bye this coming week?
Yeah,
Oh, they do?
They were in Frankfurt.
Okay.
Because they give you the bye week when you
somebody
travel
just
back.
didn't have that off. I thought somebody
Jacksonville.
Yeah.
Because of Jacksonville, because of the fact that they opted to have more games internationally. So they did that. So they're on the bye week too. So it's going to be a great chess match. 2 weeks for Andy, 2 weeks for Nick. And a Super Bowl rematch. And I like the Eagles' chances. I really do. Watching the Chiefs yesterday, I was like, I like the Eagles' chances in this game coming up, but we got a lot of time to talk about it.
Yeah,
Too
it's
much.
funny. Josh Sass on our YouTube
What's up, Josh?
brought two of our points together. One yours, one mine. More agreeing with you. We're 29th in pass defense. LOL. We're not dominating. We've held on.
That's
interesting, and it's a different way
rush
of looking
defense,
at
though, and that's something that I should have also mentioned. You're number one in rush defense. You're 29th in pass defense. Are people just passing because they can't run? Just playing devil's advocate. I gotta be fair. That maybe they're passing because they just say, why are we going to beat our heads against the wall? We're not going to run. We're not going to run the football in this team.
Yeah, and like we talked about earlier, their number 2 rush defense, number 2 pass, number 2 rush offense, number 2 pass offense, I believe,
and number 2 in points.
We have to put them hand in hand. Yeah, I have to believe that at some point Nick Sirianni said to himself, "Wow, look at the safeties we're playing. Look at the linebackers that we don't even know who we're playing." And look at this offense that we brought back. Yeah, let's outscore teams.
Who did you feel yesterday at halftime, Pat? 17-14 Cowboys. You aren't able to get down and muster anything before the half to get the double up. What did you feel going into the second half?
Good. Felt like they would still win. I was more nervous about winning my bets than the game, honestly. I thought that
I was worried about the over big time.
Yeah, I thought the second half adjustments would be there. I thought getting the ball to start the second half was huge. I didn't like the fact that they failed to get any points. I really thought that they would be able to get that at least 10-point swing with scoring at the end of the half and then getting the ball. But no, I felt confident they'd win.
I did too. I didn't feel bad about the game at halftime. I thought they'd come out because they tend to. Again, they start out the second half. That third quarter yesterday was exquisite by Jalen Hurts. Comes back, gives them the lead. The defense steps up a little bit, comes back again, and they extend the lead. And I didn't feel good, though, about the 11-point lead. I felt very uncomfortable with it.
I'll tell you what, that throw that he had to Devontae Smith for the touchdown in the quarter of the end zone, my God. You can't throw a better football.
No, perfect.
You cannot throw a better football. And that was just gorgeous. And we had talked about, I think, Pat, you might have brought it up yesterday, that his deep ball hasn't been as consistent this year.
He proved me wrong on that one.
No, I don't know, prove you wrong. Like, you're right overall. You're right. That was a great throw.
That was a gorgeous throw.
That was unbelievable. But it's funny. Halftime, I texted Chunas because I said, hey, how we doing? Can you send me all of our same-game parlays that we did? Because it looked like a lot of them were playing out. So that shows maybe that I wasn't all that concerned about the game. But then my both eyebrows went up, not just one, when they start Rashad Penny in the backfield to start the second half. I don't get it. I know you laugh it off because
it's Mike Johnson.
What? Who's Mike Johnson?
Is it Mike Johnson? Wrong.
Brian Johnson.
Brian Johnson.
Brian Johnson.
Wrong. I mean, it's honestly.
I thought you were talking about another running back.
I have no idea. Exactly. I have no idea.
I mean, I honestly said I said out loud, this is why you deferred for Rashad Penny? And my wife looked at me. She goes, what did you just say? I said, nothing. Never mind. But really? I mean, what's the running game hasn't been working all that well lately. You're trying for something else. I'm all for it. But to begin a half, that's as outrageous as when they started Boston Scott in the second half against Dallas like last year or 2 years ago. What are you doing? Why are you starting your third string running back to begin a half? I don't get it.
Mike Johnson was a offensive lineman out of Alabama that played for the Falcons.
Oh, yeah, Mikey, sure.
So it's in my head. Hey, Mike and Delran, you're on the Bible, dude. Hands on the Bible. How are you, buddy?
What's up, guys? How you doing?
Good, man. How you doing?
Well, I'm not going to lie. I'm a little embarrassed to admit I missed the majority of the game yesterday.
What happened?
My son had his first hockey game, my younger guy.
Oh, look at you. Good dad.
So we were at that. I did listen
Congrats.
to
He's
it.
already better than me.
We did have part of it on
Did you
when we do a score.
Did you DVR it and not know the
I
score?
did. I watched some of it, but then I fell asleep. We were in D.C. all weekend. We drove home early in the day and went right to soccer or hockey or whatever. But listen, I'm calling in because I have an obligation because I said I would.
You do.
And everything I've heard is valid. Everyone's concerns, valid concerns. But there's 31 other teams that want to be in the spot we're in right now. And the fact that if you would have told me a Dolphins, Redskins, Cowboys stretch, we would be 3-0, I wouldn't have believed you. I thought we would have lost one of these games. Guys, last year we were dominant against an easy schedule. This year we're finding ways to win against one of the toughest. I'm not concerned. 8-1 feels great. The bye week's coming in time. Screw Andy Reid. Go Birds!
All right, buddy. I love that. Screw Andy Reid, though. I can't endorse that as he is my favorite coach of all time in any sport.
Yeah.
But now Nick Sirianni is quickly approaching that. If he gets me a championship, he'll really eclipse him.
Yeah, but like your brother might have been your favorite person of all time or Rock's one of my favorite people of all time, but there's nobody whose ass I want to kick more in a game of basketball. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you like beating him.
I love Andy Reid. I do too, and I was a proponent of his during a time when a lot of people wanted to get rid of him. I understood it all, everything. So I want to beat him more than anybody. I want to see him have bad clock management against the Eagles more than anything.
I feel very good, weirdly, and we're 2 weeks out. I feel very good about going to Arrowhead and winning.
I'm not
I
there
don't know
yet.
why. I don't know why, but
I don't have a feel for the game yet because I've put it out of my mind for a week. I won't get ramped up until a week from today.
Let's see what Brian in East Falls has to say. Brian, your hand's on the Bible too, dude. Let's get
Good morning, fellas. First of all, I just want to say, man, yesterday was like a pay-per-view heavyweight title fight that led up to that was like hyped up and it lived up to every second of it. I thought it was the beginning of bringing back the juice to this rivalry. And I also think that that pass that Jalen Hurts had to Devontae Smith was a great pass.
Amazing pass, wasn't it?
It was definitely amazing. I was concerned with the health of him and also Dallas Goedert, with the fractured forearm yesterday, going forward. But up until the last minute and a half of that game, I was confident until it started to kind of feel like it was unraveling at the end. But we held on and we beat Dallas. So I mean that's all. And then like you said, Bob, I'm putting it out of my mind until I'm taking this well-deserved break off from analyzing these games, man.
What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do next weekend?
Next weekend, man, I'm probably gonna do something with my son, man. I'm gonna figure out something fun to do.
There you go. I like
think,
that.
I think we got a Sunday night Sixers game next week. So
there you go.
There it is,
yeah,
Brian.
Maybe I'll take him to that then, or maybe I can win some tickets on the Fanatic.
You might be able to. Oh, listen,
good one,
don't
Brian.
be Brian. Don't be too transparent. For God's sakes, it's unbelievable. We have great jurors, by the way, and we appreciate all the jurors, checking in and giving their thoughts. I think everybody's in the same place. Is that Bob always says, when you get up and your feet hit the floor in the morning, what's the positive thought of the morning? And immediately, it sounds stupid to me, like going through chemo and everything right now. My positive thought was 8-1 Eagles, and that they're 2.5 games up in the division. I'm worried about the Eagles and getting that top seed because I truly believe if they have the top seed, we're going to Vegas. That's to me, the 2-win scenario has become so big since there's only one bye.
Yeah.
The NFL really makes it. First of all, unlike these other stupid sports, they reseed, meaning that your regular season
sports are stupid.
Well, I think the NBA is stupid. That the Knicks and the Heat get to play while the Celtics and the Sixers play. That was just stupid last year. So the two better teams in the Eastern Conference had to play in that round instead of playing in the conference finals because they didn't get the easier matchup. I think reseeding is important. I like that the NFL does that. But now the one seed being the bye, I think that's an incredible it's an incredible advantage, and it shows you the 17 games, we value it. It meant something.
Yeah, sure. And you get 2 home games. I don't care the opponent all that much. I mean, that what an advantage that is for Philadelphia. 2 home games to win, to get to a Super Bowl again. And it's, no, I'm not going to say it's becoming the norm, but it's what we
The new normal, you're going to say?
I think it's what we're going to expect over the next few years.
A gentleman says to me here, Jacob.
Hey, what do you say, Jay?
What is it going to take for Andy Reid to be supplanted by Nick Sirianni? Your love affair with Andy Reid is very, very earned, but isn't Nick Sirianni approaching that?
Oh, please.
Andy Reid did a lot of great for the. Andy Reid took a franchise that was pretty much playoff time irrelevant and made us relevant for a decade and a half, and then laid the foundation for the Super Bowl title and what's come after. So I'll always thank him. But to me, Bob, I would say if Nick Sirianni takes me to a second Super Bowl in 3 years, he's going to supplant Andy.
I don't know. I chuckle only because.
Well, who's your favorite?
2.5 years, and we're going, can Nick Sirianni supplant Andy Reid, who basically built an organization?
But if he goes
this isn't about winning games. It's building an organization. They hired Andy Reid, and this organization of Philadelphia Eagles football hit a new level that it hasn't gone away from since.
Never.
And that is special. Look, I'm not gonna say, I like you better because you did this, whatever. Nick Sirianni takes you to Super Bowls and wins Super Bowls. I'll love that as much as I love anything, sports wise.
Right.
But he's 2.5 years in. Like, this is, my overall thing.
I get you.
Zion Williamson going to be a Hall of Famer? He's played 25 games. I don't look that far into the future, no.
But if he wants to win if he was to deliver us 2 Super Bowls in 3 years and he delivers a parade, it's going to be hard to not go, man, Nick Sirianni is on a whole new level.
It is going to be hard to do that. Andy had a ton of success. My childhood was pretty damn good because of that guy.
Right.
But it's not 2 Super Bowls and a parade. I mean, it's something that the organization's only done once before.
Correct.
It's hard to argue with that. We thought that when Doug Peterson said new norm, that it was true. And you had all the pieces there.
You did.
You didn't expect your quarterback to become so mentally fragile that he just, pooped his pants. But
I think Nick is more likable.
I think he's more likable to us.
To us. Okay, yeah. To opposing fan bases, not.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think opposing fan bases think too much about Doug Peterson at all. But, the Doug Peterson struggle with him, at least it seemed, was he won a Super Bowl and his opinion didn't really matter much in that building. It was Howie Roseman's way or the highway for a while there. And when you have, a little bit of cachet and then the bosses tell you your opinion doesn't matter, it's going to piss you off. And that's ultimately what led to him going, I don't need this. I'm out. Like, I'll sit out a year. And then he went to Jacksonville. Look what he's doing now.
Yeah. It's funny. The argument I got in with someone who used to work here, whose name is Jamie. We were talking about the Reid and the Doug Peterson thing. And he was, all Doug Petersoned up and all that stuff. I said, all right, I don't care about who I like or don't like. That I look at it as their head football coaches. Who would you take to play a game against each other as your head coach? Would you take Andy Reid or would you take Doug Peterson?
Andy.
I don't even think I said if they're facing each other. I said if you're going to start up a season with a head coach, who would it be? Mine's Andy Reid, hands down, over Doug Peterson and over Nick Sirianni right now. It just is.
He may end up the greatest coach of all time by the time he's done.
Yeah, the winningest coach of all time. Absolutely. He could be that.
Which is bizarre. I mean, hey, Pat Malvern, I want to get you in here. Hi, Pat.
Fellas, how you doing?
Good,
I know
buddy.
I'm short on time. I'm not a juror, but I'll give my alternative juror take. Look, I said last night on Twitter, they're not the 2022 team, but all that means is they're not blown out teams with style points and looking like the Donovan and T.O. Eagles 2004. They are the real chance at making you go from complete joy to potential heart attack in 5 minutes. I 1,000% thought they were going to lose that game last night. Dak throws the end zone, game over, but I'd much rather be not sulking for 2 weeks. You know,
exactly.
It's great. Last thing I'll just say, they befuddle me. I don't know how they do it, but I have complete faith in them going forward, man. Let's let it go. Whatever they do, I'm all in 100%.
Good job, Pat. All right, I want to make sure we get Kenneth in West Philly in here. Kenneth, quickly. You got like 30 seconds.
Hey, good morning, guys.
Hey, buddy.
Just want to tell you guys last night what I had for dinner. I had some CD lamb chops, some collard greens, and for dessert, some Trey Lance cookies.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
oh, man, I like
yeah.
that. That sounds like a good menu.
Yeah.
Man, it was a good day, wasn't it?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
We're still celebrating today. You saved all that time for that, Kenneth. He waited all that time to
Good
give
man.
us that.
Sounds like a good meal to me. Hopefully he has it again in a couple of weeks.
I don't like collard greens.
Oh, I love collard greens.
You do? I do not.
Oh, yeah.
Pat, do you like the collard greens? Because you like Brussels sprouts.
I do, yeah.
Are they
Sort of
related?
the same family, I would think.
Not a huge fan.
No, I'm not a fan either. But, boy, that food was great the other day, though, wasn't it? Yesterday for our live show. It was awesome.
That was great. We also had great food yesterday for the tailgate.
Well, you always do Cat's Catering.
Oh, my God.
Seriously.
Pat with the mac and cheese.
Any burn ends yesterday? Any of that?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, I love that. Oh, come on. Cavs Catering's the best. Hey, support life-saving cancer research. Join us and our generous partner, the Davis CPA Group. Ron Davis is gearing up for tax season. And make a donation to the American Association for Cancer Research today. Do it at 975thefanatic.com/AACR because cancer research saves lives. I'm counting on that, by the way. Hey, looking forward to Andrew Salchunas celebrating a win with you, but getting into the discussion with Ray Dunn coming your way next. Have a great